on? What is that?
What? Why are you filming?
What is that above the barn there?
It's a plane.
It's not a plane. It's not a plane.
What is it?
Oh God, what is that?
What is it? Oh God.
What is that? It's coming down. It's coming down.
"575 years ago, on the ancient alien tomb world of Krypton, I know, hear me out, the warlord known as Darkseid receives a strange message from a distant star. For centuries, he's searched for the purpose of the planet that he inherited as a scavenger, searched for a purpose behind the death and destruction he has used this world to wreak on the universe. And now, he has an answer. He boards a small craft and heads thousands of light years across the galaxy to the planet Earth, only to be blown out of orbit by a brainiac defense system. He plummets on fire through the atmosphere, out of control, hurtling towards the surface until he crashes in the desert outside of Roswell, New Mexico. I know, but I know. The Starlight Emperor diner, located only half a mile away from the wreck site, is completely destroyed by the shock wave, and 5 teens set out to discover the origin of this strange disaster. At the wreckage, their torches illuminate a monster from another world, Lord Darkseid, crippled and broken by the crash. Where's that mask?
You will face my holy wrath! Burn in God's light!
Darkseid incinerates the teenagers, only to be set upon by the United States military. Injured beyond repair, Darkseid is overpowered and locked away in a government facility for testing and experimentation, crucified like the Messiah he believed himself to be, and picked apart by scientists for over 75 years.
Why has my God forsaken me? Brainiac, save me!
It's not my Buddha. You know, this was supposed to be an animated movie. During the pandemic, I was kind of at a creative low point. I think a lot of people were, but for me, it's rare. I have more ideas than time. I often get trapped with new ideas that come in the middle of trying to finish something else. And it's a point of pride that I try to always finish everything. But the whole world had stopped and I was not feeling very inspired. And it was out of this frustration, one day I'm like, okay, what if I just do a lot of acid alone in my apartment?
Everything is normal. There is no reason to panic.
It turned out to be a great decision because it gave me the idea to start a creative consulting company. Now, one of the main ways I get new ideas is by talking to people about their ideas. It's one of the great pleasures of my life. It's something I enjoy more than almost anything else, is talking to somebody about their idea and watching someone get excited about it. And doing that enough got me excited about my ideas. So now we rewind. We go backwards in time, way pre-pandemic. We go back to maybe college.
Everyone will just be quiet for a minute and talk about Robin.
And we go to my videos about Superman, my relationship to the character Superman, if you can call it that. You can watch me age in real time just by watching videos I've made on YouTube about Superman.
I'm nervous about this.
You don't give a fuck about Superman, even if you think you do. It's not because I think people don't give a fuck about it.
This is not a Superman comic. The Arctic Circle.
I love this shit. I get into it, I go all the way down into it, and it was the dream of my life to do a Superman comic, and I eventually got to do it, American Alien. If you haven't read it, please do. After I met this animator, David North, through my consulting program, I started to be like, well, couldn't I do like DC Comics story, but with the scale of a Game of Thrones that has a beginning, a middle, and an end? You get to see how the characters start, you get to see what happens to them in a linear way, and then at the end of it, they all face their fates, and you get to end the DC universe. And I'll do it all in this hour-long animated film.
We even got as far as making like a full hour-long animatic, but then time started dragging on, and
It was taking longer and longer than I thought it would, because it turns out for one guy who also has other jobs, animating a whole movie is actually pretty hard. So I started making YouTube videos because I already knew the whole thing in my head. The question was, how was I going to communicate that if I didn't have the animated film? So for all these videos, over the course of 4 years, I've been telling the story from my head. Most of them are just me on a webcam, and I spoke extemporaneously because I can remember all this shit because I know this story backward, forward, front, sideways, anything. But for the end, I can't do it extemporaneously. So I wrote it down. This time, I wrote the whole thing down. Look at this. This is what we're doing today. I'm fucked. So it is with a large dose of humility, a very heavy binder, and more than a little bit of flop sweat that I present to you the final main story chapter of the Kryptonian Epic, the end of Superman. Superman, the Starlight Emperor. Okay, where was I? I was, Metropolis. As sun cuts through the morning mist in the skies over Metropolis, Clark Kent soars freely. He doesn't even wear the Superman costume anymore. He's in jeans and a t-shirt. He's exhilarated, and the flight is beautiful, more graceful and balletic than anything we've ever seen Superman do in a movie. And why not? We've never seen Superman in this position before. Ever since his identity was made public, Clark has been in a spiral, down, 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 as pressure raised on him. But now he's embraced it. For the first time ever, Clark is able to live openly as Superman with the love of his life. We watch him twirl and dance and zip and zap back and forth through the buildings until he finally comes to the balcony of his apartment and directly into Lois Lane's arms. What a beautiful way to start the day. They spend pretty much all of it drinking. It seems to be there's some kind of party. All of their friends are in town. Pete Ross, Oliver Queen, Ted Kord. Yeah, there's a lot of cops around. There's tanks and security moving through the streets for reasons that will, for a moment, remain a mystery. But our heroes are happy. An international security council has partnered with the United States government to do a congressional inquest about the superhero phenomena of the last 10 years. This covers dozens of mass casualty incidents and disasters. So many conspiracy theories have popped up about the nature of the superhumans. You have to keep in mind, these people have been living essentially above the law for years in conflict with each other that affected the fate of all of humanity. It's time for them to step out into the light, because tomorrow they're going to be deposed on cameras for 14 days and tell the entire story of the Kryptonian Epic. For the first time ever in our story, all of the relevant characters in the Kryptonian Epic are gathered in one place. This is like trying to introduce every relevant character at like the beginning of Deathly Hallows, so like bear with me. You've got Clark Kent, the man formerly known as Superman, a Kryptonian human hybrid who became a superhero vigilante. Arthur Curry, arguably the most powerful being on Earth, a man born into a cult and a former eco-terrorist. Also, of course, you have Diana of Themyscira, FKA the Wonder Woman, who only recently has broken loose from Lex Luthor's control to discover that she is actually the last of the Amazons. You also have things that have been in the news for years, like the techno-utopia and Bloodhaven, built by Ted Kord, who's been revealed to be the Blue Beetle. Ted himself just wants to come out into the light and be honest about the choices he made in Bloodhaven and why he made them. But he's not the only existing public figure who has interacted with the superhero phenomena and kept their role a secret from the public. You have Lois Lane, who hid the identities of multiple superpowered vigilantes. You have Dick Grayson, who was the ward and heir to Bruce Wayne, one of the richest men in the world, who is still missing. You have Jimmy Olsen, a reporter who coined the term superhero. These were some of the most admired and credible reporters in the world. And what, they were in on it the whole time? The public demands answers. On top of them, you have another billionaire, Oliver Queen, who has recently willfully disclosed that he was the Arrow vigilante who killed half of the Savannah-led board of Queen Pharmaceuticals. Ollie, after a recent near-death experience, has given up being Green Arrow or a superhero at all. He has stepped down and resigned from Queen Pharma. He's focusing on raising his estranged son and getting done what really matters. And part of that for him is this testimony. But adjacent to the civilians swept up in this, you also have the test subjects and hybrids created with Kryptonian technology. First up there is Waylon Jones, the Killer Croc, whose rampage in Monaco made him a figure of international fear and revulsion. Waylon has been staying with Arthur. Right now they're under armed guard in the abandoned Metropolis Seaquarium, having turned themselves in anticipation of their depositions. You also have former superhero mercenary Manchester Black, a telekinetic with a bad attitude who spent the last few years in jail. Alongside Manchester, you have arguably less or more successful hybrids like Rudy Jones, the Parasite, no relation to Waylon Jones. Also, and I'm counting him under hybrids, you have the guy responsible for creating all of these, Kirk Langstrom, a brilliant geneticist who transformed himself into the Man-Bat in order to protect his experiments from the man who funded them, Lex Luthor. Kirk turning himself in led to a domino effect, where the government is now going to get testimony from the actual criminals who've been protected by the superhero phenomena. First among them is physicist Dr. Victor Fries, a cold man with a hot temper who's been presumed dead for years, protected by Clark Kent and Oliver Queen. Victor, known to the public as Mr. Freeze, was responsible for the Ace Chemicals incident, one of the largest mass casualty incidents in American history. Also involved in the Ace Chemicals incident was Dr. Barry Allen, a financial criminal who was blackmailed for years into performing as the Flash, a superhero in Lex Luthor's Justice League. Barry has no interest in being a superhero or helping any of these people, but Victor is his best friend. And when Victor decided to come forward, Barry realized he had no choice. Last, and perhaps most notorious amongst the actual criminals, is Edward Nygma. Eddie is known to the public as the Riddler, a serial killer in Gotham who came after the board of Queen Pharmaceutical around the same time as the Arrow killings. What the world doesn't know is that after his crimes, Eddie was recruited by Clark Kent into the society and has functionally served as their strategic brain of operations for the last 5 years. About a year ago, Eddie's problems were getting the worst of him, so he turned himself into Arkham, where he's been since then. Now he's in a Metropolis lockup, awaiting the opportunity to finally tell his story. They've got him all got up like Hannibal Lecter, but can any prison really keep hold of the Riddler? And I know I've mentioned them a bit, but this is leaving out the people who aren't there. Zatana, a pop star who can rival Arthur Curry for the title of most powerful being on planet Earth, who went missing after an attack on Lex Luthor, the richest man alive who was revealed to be a criminal 2 years ago, and yet continues to escape justice and has gone completely off the map. And you can't leave off Bruce Wayne, a figure of gossip and public interest for years because of how hot and sexy and fun he was, who was revealed to be not hot, sexy, or fun at all, depending on your taste, when it came to light that he was the vigilante Batman who aspired to secretly control all of these people before succumbing to his own mental illness and vanishing. But yeah, you can't do an inquest without evidence, so that means everyone had to turn over their stuff. So you have all of the recovered armors and weapons affiliated with Kryptonian technology and the superhero phenomena being kept in a lockup uptown. You have all of the Kryptonian tech that the government has hidden through Project Starlight Emperor. A lot of it is being kept downtown. This is, for instance, the teleporter from Amnesty Bay. Why am I mentioning that? I don't know. I'm just mentioning it. And there's other people. I could keep going, but I'm not gonna, because you have to list like Blockbuster and all the other people who've experimented with the Kryptonian technology. But let's get back to the story now that you know absolutely everything. Clark and Lois watch the sunset from the rooftop of their condo in Metropolis. And for the first time, Clark tells the story of American Alien issue 4. What happens in that issue is that Clark is confronted and attacked by Batman. and after that, contacted by Lois Lane, at the time a work rival. Lois suggested that he do something big. She didn't know that at the time she was saying that, he was looking at the torn-off Batman cape he had kept as a souvenir. You can make a strong argument that it was in that moment that the idea of Superman was born. Now, judging by the tears in Clark's eyes, he's never actually told this story to Lois. And then, he drops to one knee. Lois Lane, will you marry me? No, stop, stand up, stand up. Stop, sorry. I don't mean stop like stop loving. No, not now, Clark, for the press. I would have said yes, anytime in the last 8 years, but on the eve of the biggest moment of our life, this moment will be written about in history books 300 years from now, and I'd really like to just be Lois Lane for it, you know? I would rather not be Superman's fiance.
No,
Lois Lane.
that's actually super.
So after or before? Yes. Now, technically, yes, but no. I love you. I love you. I love you. Don't cry. Don't cry. Stand up.
Yeah. Okay.
So situations like that aren't terrifically uncommon in the relationship. It resolves quickly, and they make love on the top of the building. It's so beautiful. Until the window washing guy comes out and catches them midway through, and they have to fly off the top of the building half naked. Wind howls over the icy landscape. Inside, creeping like a rat in church, surrounded by the carcasses of seabirds and penguins he's killed with rudimentary tools, is the extraterrestrial megalomaniac Drew Zod, the creature responsible for the death of the planet Krypton. He's been trapped here since Lois Clark and the Society punked his ass like a bitch and left him here during Superman Do-It-Yourself. But he survived. Kryptonian bodies are fragile and frail, plant-like and strange, but they're not affected by cold. So here in the ice, he's lived like a hermit, waiting for someone else to fall into the centuries-old trap. He still somehow believes the cataclysm he caused on Krypton that led to the death of his entire species and the destruction of his planet is something that happened to him. For the first time in years, he has a visitor. He hears the exultant, jubilant ranting of Vandal Savage.
Glory, glory, glory! As it was foretold, now it shall be.
Vandal has searched for this place, the alien Fortress of Solitude, for over 500 years. The place that forever changed his life and shaped his destiny, transformed him into a superhuman, believing himself to be a messiah of crime and evil. He is in a state of religious euphoria as the fortress comes to life, electricity and energy arcing through the walls of ice as it opens to greet him. It recognizes the human it chose years ago as its base mind, the confused, damaged infant brainiac of Earth, finally seeing that perhaps it will now fulfill its purpose. They fit together like a glove, two morons who think they're doing the right thing. Lex Luthor is in a different situation, once the most powerful man alive. Now he's dragged on a leash like a dog. He's grown a beard, his eyes are sunken. He's become thin, pale, and sallow. For the entirety of his life, Alexander Lex Luthor has justified his actions, from the breathtakingly benevolent to the genocidally monstrous, with the idea that one day there would be a version of himself that would make it all worth it, that would show everyone that he was without equal, a man without peers, that his decisions could not be judged by other people because they simply were not at his level. Alexander the Great, Ozymandias, Albert Einstein, world shakers, world changers. That's who Lex believed he would be. But now, a prisoner of Vandal Savage, Lex can't help but find himself thinking about Zatana, the witch girl who he had kept prisoner in a very similar way. All of his plans, his designs on defeating Superman and taking over the world have turned to ash in the hands of a lunatic who has forced him to go from secret LexCorp facility to secret LexCorp facility, collecting weapons and research that would finally lead Vandal here. Zod lurks in the icy tunnels above them, watching Vandal and Lex make their way slowly deeper and deeper into the fortress. And this is kind of weird because we've actually, for the first time ever, got 3 of the primary antagonists of the Kryptonian Epic in the same place. Zod makes a ludicrously stupid attempt to physically overpower Vandal Savage. And Vandal Savage beats the high holy fuck out of Zod. He's throwing him around left, right. Luthor tries to run away. Vandal just yanks him back like a fucking chihuahua. So now you got 2 of the biggest egos in the entire Kryptonian Epic, 2 of the most important beings ever to live on their planets, being slapped around by essentially a homeless guy with a messiah complex. The Brainiac nanites in Vandal's blood translate Zod's Kryptonian babbling.
You are an angel. You will open the gate. You will lead the way to heaven.
You don't understand. That's not a gate to
You
Krypton.
will do it, or you will die like the rest of the angels.
Why are you calling me an angel?
Vandal flings Zod down, seizing control of the infant Brainiac and responding to its base mind. The ancient intelligence opens the icy gates to the obsidian energy doorway into the Phantom Zone.
What is that? A gateway, my friend, to heaven.
The last of the super hybrids, the creatures that massacred the Kryptonians, begins to emerge from the Phantom Zone, 45 feet tall, with black energy falling off of it like black tar dripping off of a mastodon. And now we go up to the stratosphere, where Green Lantern Abin Sur receives a terrifying message. For 500 years, Earth has been under quarantine by the Green Lanterns, an intergalactic peacekeeping force. See, about 500 years ago, the last Kryptonian pod landed here. And less than a century ago, the notorious alien warlord Darkseid disappeared onto Earth, never to be seen again. For these reasons, it's best that they don't involve themselves. Earth is a powder keg waiting for a spark. Abin Sur sees that the Kryptonian base on Earth has been activated. As he soars in, he sees Zod running out.
Help me, please. They've unleashed the creature.
If you're wondering what Abin Sur looks like, he's like a purple space cop with a big purple head. He finds that the lights in the fortress have gone out. He sees a human, a bald one he doesn't recognize, trying to operate the Kryptonian technology, and he hears insane laughter echoing throughout the halls. Lit by his glowing green ring, Abin Sur makes his way deeper, not realizing that a massive shape is creeping towards him from behind out of the darkness.
Human, step away from the panels.
You don't understand.
Then you'll have to explain.
I don't imagine I'll have time. Look behind you.
The super hybrid launches out of the darkness and grabs the noble space policeman by the head and legs and rips him in half, showering Luthor with his alien innards. In Metropolis, the Navy SEALs and Marines assigned to guard all of the confiscated Kryptonian human technology are in shock and confusion, as several pieces of it whir to life, activated by the now operating base mind. At 1:45 a.m. in Midtown Metropolis, an explosion is heard. A pillar of smoke and fire erupts from the building housing the Kryptonian technology. There's the noise of gunfire and screaming, and then a bellowing, thunderous roar. Carried through the Kryptonian technology, a monster has stepped into the city. 45 feet of gray flesh pockmarked with bone spikes and a massive chomping mouth that jaws soundlessly. This creature is known in the Kryptonian Epic as the super hybrid. But when Dan Jurgens created this concept, he had one name in mind: Doomsday. Yeah, let's go, baby! Let's go! We're doing it! We're doing it! Doomsday in the Kryptonian Epic now! We're doing it! We made it! Oh, fuck, I got so much to do still. Oh, fuck! 75 solar systems away. For the first time in centuries, Brainiac 13, the malevolent superintelligence that controls the rotting zombified corpse of the planet Krypton, receives a signal. A super hybrid has been located. Brainiac 13's single-minded quest to destroy the superhybrids is what led to the death of Krypton. And it is still on that holy crusade. It activates the hyperlight engines of the ancient planet and transports Krypton directly into low Earth orbit. In Area 51, General Armand Hardcastle, the man in charge of supervising Project Starlight Emperor to study all of the Kryptonian technology the United States government has gathered, awakens to screams, alarms, and then a massive explosion. He wanders in his pajamas through the base, past panicking military officers and scientists as they run through the hallway, working his way to where the alien Lord Darkseid is held, only to find that that entire portion of the base has been blown away, and Darkseid, limping, ancient and decrepit, steps out into open air for the first time in 75 years, only to be hit with a holy beam of green light, lifted into the sky, classic alien abductee style, and then rocketing upwards. Armand follows his captive warlord as he rises further and further away, up into the sky, but the sky is not there. In the entire Western Hemisphere of planet Earth, the sky has been replaced by the surface of Krypton, a dead world, an ugly world covered in ever-burning fires. If you look up, you are looking at hell. In Metropolis, Lois and Clark awake to the sound of the building's fire alarm. The power in the city is already out. They scramble to put on clothes, Clark hurriedly putting on the Superman suit to see that people are being evacuated out into the street. It's gridlocked in every direction. From nearby, he can hear explosions, tumult, screaming and yelling, and then Clark looks up. For the entirety of the Kryptonian Epic, Clark has run towards and then away from his alien origins. When the planet Krypton was presented to him, it was always in a context that made it seem traumatic and frightening, something he'd actually like to know less about. And now, there it is. Clark freezes up. In the moment where the world would most need Superman, Clark Kent goes into shock and becomes a rattled, muttering shell, being ushered by Lois down the stairs alongside the other evacuating people, and then swept into a tide of humanity, wandering in confusion and fear out into the street. Headcord and Tracy Garrett are just as confused as anyone else as they wander down a hotel escalator alongside hundreds of other people, all of them trying to get their cell phones to work, but nothing does. He spots Pete Ross and Diana the Wonder Woman through the crowd in the hotel lobby. People are surging, trampling over each other, and Ted has to pull people to safety. This guy's a superhero even in his off hours. Pete is in sweatpants, and he's now full-on dating Diana. Dating someone a full foot taller than you is kind of a big order, but he's from Kansas, he can take it. They're built strong. They come together in the center of the lobby. Diana, Pete, I'm going uptown to try to find Lois and Clark. I need you to get a hold of Victor Fries and Barry Allen. Hey, Ted, all due respect, but this whole place is being evacuated. Just go, find them now. If something's going on, I want to know where everyone is. They step out into the street, a sea of panicking people, only to see a construction crane flipping end over end high through the air before it comes crashing down on Metropolis' seaquarium, causing a massive amount of fish to go spilling out into the ocean. Waylon Jones is terrified. He looks up into the sky at the alien planet, totally bewildered, as frightened as anyone else. But Arthur is strangely calm. You see, this all matches up. He was raised in a cult that told him this would happen, that he would be the Messiah that defeats an evil entity from space. That seems like an evil entity from space. Everything he'd been deprogrammed from is now being shown to him in startling scale. It can't be. It can't all be true. Clark and Lois are funneled with the crowd of people out into Straczynski Square, where they see Ted rushing towards them through the crowd, waving his arms. We gotta get to the lockup, get our weapons out, the Beetle suit, everything. Ted, all of that is being guarded by the FBI, the CIA, and like 1,000 soldiers. We're not going to be able to just Postmates our stuff back to us. There's a thunderous, bellowing roar. And a building about a half a mile south of them cracks in half and hits the building next to it, causing a domino effect with skyscrapers toppling over into an expanding cloud of dust, debris, and ruin. Clark floats up above the teeming mass of people, a startling image of one person looking one direction while everyone else rushes another. And Lois reaches out and grabs his ankle. Ted? Take Lois. No, you can't just tell him to take me, no! Ted has to physically overpower Lois to pry her off Clark's leg as he floats higher. Ted and Clark exchange one last look. Hey, Clark. I love you, man. We're all with you. Clark nods once and then launches into the air. He wants to do it the way Bruce Wayne would have done it. Every move has to be perfect. He's not going to let the world end tonight. Doing the fights is just always so frustrating because some of the dialogue in the fights, I'm doing it off the top of my head. I'm doing it from memory. I'm trying to capture it. I'm trying to act it. I'm trying to perform it while I'm sitting in a chair. Look at his chair. Does this chair lend itself to a big, giant, fucking city-destroying fight scene? I mean, what we're doing is already essentially a spoken audio book, so come on, fuck it. Okay, Ben, let's go charge a camera. Clark floats up to the tops of the buildings, only to see a dark shape approaching through the clouds of dust and debris. It's Kirk Langstrom, the Man-Bat. The two of them swoop low over Metropolis's South Bay. Clark can see 100 car crashes happening at once, people being run over by motorcycles and trampled by crowds, debris crushing people and fires growing in number and intensity. It looks like a fucking meteor hit, and this part of the city did not have time to evacuate. It's like someone poured water on an anthill, people running everywhere. Clark floats down into the cloud of ash and smoke that now consumes a fifth of the city. There's something moving down there, something individually attacking people. The shape becomes clear. First, just a silhouette, a relatively small body comprised almost entirely of a gaping mouth filled with jagged, misshapen teeth, framed by two red eyes and gnarled tufts of white hair, long and elegant limbs clumsily designed by some insane god for smashing, ripping, and tearing, 5-foot-long talons dangling at the end of each one. The final survivor of Krypton's war between monsters and machines now stands over a fallen statue of Abraham Lincoln, crushing a group of people beneath one of its massive feet, blood and viscera spraying out in all directions. Clark hovers in front of it, mortified with terror, disgust, and awe in equal measure. Before he can decide on a reaction, the creature notices him and lets out a bellowing roar that blows his hair back and blocks out all other sound, shatters windows, and sends flecks of spittle and crunched human gore onto Clark. Fuck that, bitch! Superman time! Clark accelerates to 3 times the speed of sound in a space of less than 20 feet, hitting the monster so hard that it is sent rolling and flailing like a bowling ball half a mile backwards into Metropolis's warehouse district. Clark uses his own Blue Beetle communicator.
Send everyone! Send anyone! I think it's already getting up!
Indeed, the creature is already running back towards Clark, using its path of destruction as a kind of runway as it charges at 300 miles an hour before launching bonelessly into the air and swatting Clark down, his body punching through the pavement, through the subway system, into the sewers. Clark lays motionless with raw sewage running over him. His civilian clothes are mostly destroyed, and he realizes that small arcs of fire and electricity are now going all over his body. He was just hit harder than he's ever been hit. Using X-ray vision to look through himself, he can see that 2 of his ribs are cracked, and the electromagnetic field that gives Clark his superhuman abilities is undergoing some kind of catalytic reaction. But that thing is already crawling down the hole in the street, snapping its jaws and lunging at Clark. Clark, using the flying abilities we've watched him hone throughout the epic, now pushes them to a balletic extreme, zipping, dipping, and dodging around the rampaging monster, battling it through the sewage systems and the subway tunnels, and eventually sending it crashing into an underground parking lot. Instead of fighting the monster, Clark uses his eye beams to kill all the support pillars, causing the entire parking lot to collapse inward on the creature. You ever like driven into one of those underground parking structures and gotten deeper and deeper and you're like, I hope there's not an earthquake and it all collapses and I'm buried under rubble? Well, it's happening here. Clark flies up through the collapsing parking structure, dodging rubble and grabbing people as they fall, throwing them to safety, holding 3 different cars as he launches back out into the nightmare disco of police emergency lights and directionless, terrified, dust-covered, blood-stained people. But the rubble is already moving. This thing is already digging itself out. Meanwhile, across town, Lois Lane and Ted Kord arrive at the secure facility where all of the weapons and technology involved in the congressional inquest are being stored, only to discover that Victor Fries is already there, shouting profanity at the military guards.
Get out of my way! Give me my technology, you stupid freaks! The world is ending!
Victor, aren't you supposed to have some kind of security detail?
Ha! They ran away!
But now everyone is coagulating at the secure facility. Everyone knows that this is where all the tech is. Jimmy Olsen arrives with Diana and Oliver Queen, who just had his son privately airlifted out of the city. Things break down rapidly. The Marines are out of contact with their superiors and don't know what to do, and now they're being confronted by a small group of the most famous people on Earth, and it gets physical. We got Diana and Ollie brawling with about 50 Marines out front, and then the secure gates of the facility roll open, and out steps Edward Nygma, still in his Arkham Asylum jumpsuit. Just behind him is former Robin, Dick Grayson, wearing sweatpants and no shirt, having been roused from a dead sleep by Eddie after he immediately broke out from his guards once he figured out something bad was going on. Dick helped Eddie break into the stockpile because, of course, Eddie predicted that everybody would come here because the heroes would need their weapons. The remaining military stand down, receiving a direct order from Amanda Waller, as Lois, filled with adrenaline and rattled, hears reports of Superman brawling with some kind of monster. At a hotel in Midtown, Rudy Jones, the man known to the world as the Parasite, wakes up to the hotel being evacuated. Rudy's a former addict who was part of a program that got turned into a super baby to absorb energy. Have you even been following the Kryptonian Epic? Like, what are you even doing here? Rudy is forced along with the crowds briefly by the police and paramedics before breaking free to walk towards the sounds of destruction and death. At a penthouse apartment on the east side, Pete Ross uses a little bit of that Kansas charm and also a loaded gun to get past the panicking NSA agents who are guarding Barry Allen and his family. He confronts Barry in his kitchen, and Barry refuses to offer any help at all. In Barry's mind, he's won. We're going to Mars. We're going past Mars. We're going to be able to put a sandwich in the hand of any hungry child on Earth. There is zero fucking reason for him to put on armor and fight a monster. There is no reason for Barry Allen to be a superhero.
I don't care if the whole fucking state of New York burns, Ross. Get me and my family out. I don't take orders from Superman's boyfriend.
He's sick of it. He holds a gun to Barry's head. He says, give me the flash suit, then I'll do it. And Barry laughs in his face.
Fine then, shoot me. Shoot the smartest man in the world. That's a great thing to do in an emergency, Ross. I fucking hate you Midwestern fucking garbage people. You're all from the bottom of a shoe.
Superman needs you, asshole. That means the world needs you. People are dying.
Everything changes when Barry's 8-year-old son, Jay, walks into the room.
Dad?
You know Superman? For the last 8 years, Barry Allen has fought for respectability, for progress, for honor, for fame, and most of all, for money. But the thing he really wanted, the thing he's really been looking for, is the love of his family.
Of course I know Superman, Jay. I'm the Flash.
Downtown, Doomsday is dripping onto Clark in its mouth, dragging him through buildings and shopping malls, crashing as they smash into each other wildly through skyscrapers until they plummet through the roof of Metropolis's hockey stadium, crashing into the ice with such violence that the scoreboards and lighting rigging fall down onto the empty stands as shattered ice explodes in every direction. Clark rips one of the teeth from Doomsday's mouth and then shoves it into Doomsday's eye and drop kicks him with such force that the monster's body collapses the concourse of the stadium. Clark once again scans his own body and sees injuries he's never had before: torn muscles, ripped ligaments, and cracked bones. The left side of his face is starting to swell up like a UFC fighter. This thing's paws are like wrecking balls, and it swings them in such a way that even if you dodge one, there's another one coming. The world's most dangerous, wacky, waving, inflatable arm tube man. Clark is noticing more of those arcs of electricity now as Doomsday digs itself out of yet another pile of rubble. Clark has to pout out a fire that is starting from one of his bleeding cuts. His wounds are leaking electricity, cobwebs of it between his fingers. He's so distracted by the fires on his own body that he doesn't even notice Doomsday coming towards him until Kirk Langstrom swoops down and plucks Clark up, dropping him off in the bleachers.
You've been Superman for a few years now. I thought you'd be doing better than this.
Clark, just run, it'll kill you!
You didn't leave me, and I'm not leaving you, Mr. Kent. I did a thermal scan of the entire city from the air. We've got to take it south. There's the least amount of civilians there.
Clark and Langstrom launch into the sky, Superman and Man-Bat, as the monster leaps after them, ricocheting between buildings, some of which collapse from the impact as Doomsday springs off of them. Doomsday uses a series of rooftops like stepping stones to reach up and swat the Man-Bat out of the air, before again biting down onto Clark, yanking him out of the sky like an alligator snatching a seagull, the two of them tumbling hundreds of feet to a catastrophic impact at the gate of the Metropolis Natural History Museum. Clark stands up, briefly framed against a huge mural showing the evolution of man from ape, with the bloodied, battered Superman as the final step. Doomsday, now with only one eye and showing a few nasty wounds of its own, leaking steaming green blood, rises on its haunches and releases a bellowing roar, framed against a massive bronze statue of a T-Rex.
I told you, Kent. A prophecy. It was always a prophecy.
Holy fuck! It's Arthur Curry, the Aquaman, just to the west of the monster, coming out of the bay. Waylon Jones, the Killer Croc, close behind him.
You gotta stop picking fights out of your weight class, kid.
Doomsday turns, confused but unafraid, and lets out a screaming roar when Wonder Woman's sword, thrown like a flaming missile, soars in and strikes it in the leg, buckling it and dropping it to one knee. Doomsday yelps and looks up to see Diana, the Wonder Woman, standing on the museum's roof atop the massive Greek pillars, looking like fucking Ares and Athena as one bitch. Doomsday lets out another roar, this one weaker and more confused as suddenly Blue Beetle's bug arcs low, causing the trees to be blown free of all of their September leaves. A single arrow strikes Doomsday on the back of the head, harmlessly bouncing off it. It swats it away, but Ollie comes down, hanging off the side of the bug with a megaphone.
You always try to get the big moments to yourself, don't you, Clark?
Victor, wearing the full Mr. Freeze armor, and Ted in the 12-foot-tall Blue Beetle unit drop at its back, landing to the north and east of Doomsday. Rudy Jones, still in his hotel bathrobe, comes crashing into the pavilion on a stolen police motorcycle and moves in front of Clark. Doomsday begins another defiant roar, but is cut off when the clouds above him crackle with purple energy, and Zatana, surrounded by spectral monsters made of smoke and energy, floats down towards the super hybrid, causing bolt after bolt of purple electricity to strike around it. Doomsday yelps and backs up, afraid, but those bolts are not striking it. They're striking Rudy as the parasite grows to a towering 300 feet tall, dwarfing Doomsday, cracking the concrete beneath him. There's a moment of tense silence. Clark and Z lock eyes. Spitting blood. Clark creates an opened arms gesture of welcome to his adopted little sister before letting out a delighted laugh. He hears something in the distance, points at his ear, making eye contact with it, the super hybrid. The Flash collides with the super hybrid at 600 miles an hour, causing them both to be engulfed in a ball of fire, crashing through the entire Natural History Museum. Doomsday, now covered in debris and fallen dinosaur bones, struggles to its feet as Barry Allen realizes with horror that the Flash suit is literally stuck into Doomsday's side like a dagger in the creature's weird, spongy flesh.
Help! Somebody help! I knew this was a bad idea!
But before the creature can kill him, Diana knocks one of its legs out from under it, and it's smashed through a series of exhibits, being mobbed by the Wonder Woman, Killer Croc, Man-Bat, and Superman at the same time. It bashes Clark away and overpowers all three of them, but then gets blown backwards out into the Metropolis tar pits by a blast from the freeze gun. Covered in frost, Doomsday staggers in agony and attempts to attack Victor, but the Blue Beetle armor plows into it, electrocuting the creature before driving it further into the tar pits. Zatana swoops low and throws a ball of light, which lights the tar pits on fire, consuming the dazed monster in white-hot supernatural flames. But this backfires as Doomsday's flailing frees it from the tar pits and sends flaming tar splashing all over our heroes. Doomsday has to swat away Clark again before it's attacked in tandem by Aquaman and Wonder Woman, both of them shrugging off flaming tar. They look like fucking gods, but Doomsday is just too strong. It flings itself into the air in an effort to escape and rushes down into the Metropolis canal system, jumping from boat to boat as they collapse under its weight. Victor Freeze again fires the ice gun, freezing the water under Doomsday's feet and trapping it ankle deep.
Oh, Victor, thank God! Get me out of this fucking thing!
I've got you, Barry. Stay calm. Victor tries to save Barry, but can't quite reach him as Doomsday escapes again, swatting Victor aside and pummeling the Blue Beetle. It happens so fast that they all got separated, and Ted finds himself alone against the creature. The Blue Beetle armor is incredibly strong, but not as strong as Doomsday. And the creature rips off one of the arms and then peels it open like a tuna can to reveal a panicked Ted underneath. You know, it's like, it's got the top of the armor like torn open and it's going like, ah, and Ted is like, ah, it's cool. Just as Doomsday goes to eat Ted, it finds itself in a startling role reversal and it is plucked upward by the massive hand of the parasite. Parasite plops Doomsday into his mouth and swallows him whole. For a moment, the city is still, and our heroes have a second to regroup. Is the fight over? No. Look at how long there is left in the video. Doomsday erupts out of Rudy's stomach, spraying electrified gore down over the city street as Parasite tumbles over backwards, rapidly deflating. But Doomsday's journey through the Parasite's body has come at terrible cost. He's covered in the Parasite's electrified, corrosive intestinal juices. From this point on, during this fight, Doomsday is basically sizzling and melting all over the left side of its body. Z begins repeatedly striking at Doomsday with blasts of purple energy, but many of them miss and cause further damage to buildings and fleeing civilians. Oliver Queen calls her off, shouting down from the bug, but this brief moment of distraction leads to Doomsday leaping at Zatana and smashing her into a building, her bones and organs exploding out of her like a squashed bug. For a moment, it appears she's dead, only for the blood and organs in a cloud of gore to animate and continue attacking Doomsday, swirling around him in a horrifying storm of bloody viscera. Doomsday smashes it away. It's not clear yet if Zatana is dead or what the fuck just happened or if you can even kill her at all, but it's clear that she probably will need to sit down for a second. Wonder Woman and Killer Croc again attack Doomsday, and it's here we can see sort of the pragmatic conceit of this fight. This isn't supervillain versus a bunch of superheroes. It's basically if you asked a bunch of normal people to fight a bear with their bare hands. Diana begins using her sword to hack off one of its melting feet before she's thrown through an oil tanker which explodes like the 90s, sending her ricocheting off the face of a building. Waylon, the Killer Croc, now facing Doomsday alone, is immediately overpowered, and Doomsday attempts to bite off his leg when Kirk Langstrom swoops down from above. And of course, Kirk would swoop down to save Waylon. Kirk feels personally responsible for Waylon becoming the Killer Croc, and by virtue of that, responsible for him being here. Clark tries to intercept in time, but Doomsday is too fast and smashes Langstrom to strike so vicious and brutal that he is killed instantly, his body plummeting to the earth. Dr. Kirk Ian Langstrom, one of the 4 smartest people on the planet, is now dead. To save his research, to help the future of humanity from falling into the hands of a psychopath that he had wrongly trusted, Kirk transformed himself into a monster, destroyed his own already damaged reputation, and went on the run. Kirk Langstrom had never been in a fight before. He's never even thrown a punch. He'd never even really gotten drunk before. In college, they called him Sweet Kirk. Him showing up here in Metropolis on this day for this fight is as clean a portrait of a life well lived as could ever be made. Did Kirk make mistakes? Lots of them. But without him, this world's just gonna be a little bit dark. Clark, enraged, goes fucking crazy on Doomsday, tearing out more of its teeth, ripping off some of its claws, and lighting it on fire with his eye beams. But it's still not enough. Doomsday grabs Clark out of the air and flings him to the ground and begins pounding his head like a sledgehammer, knocking out several of his teeth, shattering his orbital bone, cracking his collarbone before Doomsday is blasted away again by the ice gun. Of course, even though there's no backup, Victor would move to save Clark. He credits Clark with saving him at the Ace Chemicals disaster. He credits Clark with him being able to continue his work with Barry. He owes Clark everything, and that's how much he'll risk.
Victor, you fucking idiot! Get out of here! Run! Run!
Barry watches, helpless, as Doomsday leaps at Victor Freeze, crushing him and his revolutionary ice gun under one of its pummeling claws. Dr. Victor Emmanuel Fries was always called a cold person. His lack of a strong emotional affect led people to believe that he was maybe a little heartless. But Victor was defined by his heart. His decision to dedicate his life to Nora, his wife, took him away from everything, everyone, from respect, from money, from power, from fame. This guy should have been another Oppenheimer. Instead, he was just another super villain. The Ace Chemicals incident in this world is as consequential as 9/11, the moon landing, or the assassination of JFK. It's a pivot point in the entire Kryptonian Epic. And it all happens because Victor wouldn't listen to Lex's bullshit, wouldn't be manipulated or bullied by a man he thought was a small thief. Like most people who worked with Luthor, in one way or another, Victor became a monster. But he died a hero. Barry is horrified, his armor splashed by the blood of his best friend. And in the past 10 minutes, the two people he respected most have been killed right in front of his eyes. But Doomsday isn't finished. It attempts to attack Clark again, only for the bug to swing low over them, Oliver Queen firing explosive arrows that briefly distract the monster, causing it to give chase as Jimmy Olsen frantically pilots the bug, which ricochets off buildings in the city. The air is now completely choked with debris and smoke from thousands of fires. Doomsday tries to retreat, screeching in pain, but Diana leaps down at him, still on fire and very pissed off, striking the monster like a nuke. Diana is joined by Arthur, and the two of them fight the monster up onto the city's still functioning metro rail, where Doomsday uses an entire train as a weapon against them, finally overpowering Arthur and shaking him like a chew toy, biting down on his head and gouging out his left eye. In an attempt to save her adoptive brother, Diana wedges her entire body into Doomsday's jaws to push it open, but they snap closed, severing her left arm completely before knocking her flying into the air. If Wonder Woman comes down at this angle, it's gonna be bad for her, but mid-fall, holy shit, it's Batman. Oh wait, that's not Batman, that's Azrael, that's the Azrael armor. It's the Azrael armor that Bruce Wayne had made for the criminal Jean-Paul Vallée. But then who the fuck is, oh, it's Dick Grayson. Fuck yeah, man. He's got the Azrael armor out of lockup and he saved Wonder Woman's life. He's achieving his destiny. Robin is finally Batman for about 10 seconds before Doomsday smashes the armor, sending Dick careening backwards, crushed to the pavement, the armor permanently damaged and destroyed. It was a nice moment though. Oliver fires a grappling hook down from the bug to rescue Dick Grayson. But now they're in the fucking scene from Jurassic Park with Dick Grayson in the shattered Azrael armor dangling like a fishing lure from the bottom of the hovercraft as it smashes through billboards and plunges through telephone wires, the monster's snatching mouth inches behind. Clark, still dazed and bleeding, watches from a higher vantage point. He realizes that this thing isn't going to stop. It's missing its foot, it's melting, part of its brain is clearly permanently frozen because it's like limping and walking all weird and twitches. Its jaw is broken and it's missing most of its teeth. But this thing isn't even close to done. Something's got to give, or they will lose. Clark knows what he needs to do. He swoops in on the still recovering monster, but it bats him away, sending him straight through a building, the impact sending dozens of people falling with him as they plummet down towards the sidewalk. There's no way he can catch them all, but electricity has started to crackle down and around his entire body. And without touching them, Clark expands his electromagnetic field, surrounding the falling people softly catching and lifting the people telekinetically, and for a moment, these terrified Metropolis citizens fly alongside Superman before he gently deposits them on the ground. Clark barely even notices his wounds are all now leaking fire and electricity as he rockets back towards Doomsday and grabs hold of Barry Allen. The flash suit is malfunctioning, but Clark jams his hand in under the kick pad of one of the suit's feet. Barry Allen activates the flash suit from inside Doomsday, breaking into a run out of it that vaporizes the flash technology but blows Doomsday clean in half. Clark is sent flipping backwards, end over end, dazed and covered in arcs of burning electricity, blood all over him, his suit so torn that he's practically naked. His arm that he used to trigger the flash suit is twisted and broken and hanging at his side at a crooked angle. He reaches up and sees that the flash suit's explosion has sheared off part of his face and lips and torn the eyelid off his eye. But the top half of Doomsday is already getting up. You can't fucking stop this thing. There is only one way. A wave of heat ripples around Clark and electricity crackles in the air before two pinpoint beams blast out of his eyes into Doomsday's remaining eye. But they don't stay narrow for long. Clark's eye sockets burst into flame, lighting his entire head on fire like the wick of a candle. His eye beams expand from graceful lasers into hellish flamethrowers. It's like he's got hot lava crying out of his eyes. It lights up the entire night as his face burns away into ash like paper, revealing his screaming, flaming, black skull. An entire half of Doomsday's head is incinerated and the creature stops moving. Clark's body collapses backwards, and he lays motionless, the front of his head hollowed out, a muddled pile of ashes and embers. Superman is dead.
Clark Kent wondered his whole life where he came from, what it meant to be him. He thought so much about identity and purpose. The feelings of alienation and pain that breed contempt and anger in so many people for Clark bred something beautiful. They created the idea of Superman, a person who could use the privilege of power to be freed from the fears and anxieties that cause humans to do evil. He followed that path all the way to his dying day. Never saw Krypton, never learned where he came from. Superman is dead.
Clark's mutilated corpse lies amongst fire and rubble. Buildings are still collapsing all over downtown Metropolis from structural damage. The shadow of a helicopter sweeps over the body. It's the Daily Planet news chopper. Landing a helicopter in South Metropolis right now is akin to landing it in a war zone, but Lois doesn't care. Before it's even able to land, she jumps 15 feet and then scrambles to the body of the love of her life. At first, there's no reaction, no emotion. She can't touch it. And then, just as she summons up the courage to reach out and touch Clark, his body begins convulsing, and then, ew, gross, fleshy flowers sprout all over his body. David Cronenberg, yuck, petals with veins in them. Now the Blue Beetle's bug is landing, and Ted and Dick and Jimmy and Ollie rush to Lois's side, all stopping short when they discover the disgusting, twitching garden that has blossomed from their dead friend. They're silent. Even Ollie, who never shuts the fuck up, is at a loss for words. There's snow in the air. It's 11th and Snyder Street, the origin of Doomsday's rampage, where they were keeping the Kryptonian tech. The building has essentially been blown in half with dead soldiers and government personnel everywhere. But the most staggering thing isn't the scale of the death and destruction. It's the 150-foot tall window into the Arctic wastelands just outside the Fortress of Solitude. It's like a invisible doorway. Frost and snow have spilled out from the portal in all directions, stained with blood from Doomsday's violent entrance into the city. Lois doesn't appear to react. Instead, looking to the group, strangely calm. He's not dead. He can't be dead. There's things growing out of him. He's still alive in there. Diana and Arthur are more injured than they've ever been in their entire lives. Barry Allen has been knocked into a coma by the explosion of the Flash suit. All the communications in the city are down, and other than the sounds of the Arctic wind and the howls of the sirens, the night is eerily quiet.
There, through the ice. We'll take him through. It responded to him. Remember, it remembered him. It knew him. There will be technology there that
Lois, people here need our help. We can't just leave.
Take him to the thing from his home world.
Oh, Lois, come on.
And it'll fix him. It has to fix him.
His fucking head is gone, bro.
Pete Ross arrives with Edward Nygma, and we get one last really iconic image of Eddie here driving a stolen cop car. Eddie and Pete, upon seeing Clark, are initially so devastated that they become silent. Lois has, for the first time in the entire Kryptonian Epic, a full-blown meltdown. She begins sobbing, begging Clark's assembled friends, calling out for Arthur and Diana and Z, all of whom are both far away and incapacitated. And Lois collapses on her knees, cradling the twisted, deformed vegetable patch that was the man that wanted to be her fiancé.
Gentlemen, I appreciate your magnanimous desire to help the citizens of Metropolis. Yet separate from Lois's emotional point, might I pose a question? What if another one of these things comes through there? I would say the most sensible, logical, reasonable course of action, since the United States military, paramedics, fire department, police will be busy here in the city, would be us going through. And I think we lose nothing by bringing Clark with us.
The second Eddie presents a valid reason to go through the portal, it doesn't take much convincing. It is immediately evident that every single motherfucker there desperately wants to believe that what Lois is saying is true.
Fuck it. All right, you idiots, we're going back to Antarctica.
Ted gets everyone together into the bug, putting Clark on a gurney and gently moving him in, but as this happens, we sort of get a better idea of the sheer scale of destruction caused by Doomsday tonight. Doomsday was attacking individuals, not just smashing things and rampaging like Godzilla. It was killing people one-on-one, turning streets into horrifying tableaus of butchery and raw animalistic destruction, currently being captured in photographs that will become historical. Ted manages to find Z, having reconstituted herself, lying unconscious in a crater where Doomsday crushed her. He's not able to communicate with her. She's still sort of goo and gore. Z is still a wanted fugitive. Not that that really matters when the whole city's on fire. The Flash suit is destroyed, and the richest man alive, Barry Allen, is missing. Oliver Queen meets up with his son Connor, who's of course frantic at the idea of him leaving again.
You already did everything you can, Dad. You're just a person. If you go to Antarctica, all that happens is you'll get killed.
Oliver explains to Connor that if he doesn't go, his friends may die, and Connor becomes enraged, pointing out that no one in the group has superpowers.
Yo, Connor, the superpower we got is we're the ones who are willing to go. That's been my superpower the whole time.
The Blue Beetle's bug flies through the portal, out into the icy tundra, landing on the massive pyramid-like footsteps of the Fortress of Solitude. Here, even through the overcast Antarctic night, we can see Warworld in the sky, flaming orange, purple, and green lights that have scorched the planet, burning brightly, dominating the horizon. All of the fortress's icy entrances have been sealed up, but the group quickly discovers the place where the ice had been smashed open, where the super hybrid made his exit. The group slowly makes their way inside, creeping through the dark hallways of ice. Ted Cord arming himself with his old police rifle now that the Blue Beetle suit has been destroyed. Dick Grayson wears the bladed gauntlets of the destroyed Azrael batsuit. Ollie holds a bow and arrow, which is just what he always has. And Pete, Lois, and Edward Nygma wield nothing but loyalty and fear, dragging the gurney behind them. The group goes deeper into the dark, increasingly claustrophobic tunnels that now make up the Fortress of Solitude, following the path of Doomsday's destruction and discovering, in a snowy atrium, the corpse of the Green Lantern, Abin Sur. You know what? Let's do another location. Let's get out of here. The group continues into the dark, somewhat claustrophobic tunnels of the Fortress of Solitude. Coming across the torn-apart body of Abin Sur, it's almost like a haunted house, a dark ice fortress with alien guts all over the wall, and you have to keep in mind, none of these people have a frame of reference for the Green Lanterns. None of them have ever seen an alien that even looked like this before. Ted approaches the corpse, reaches down, touching the glowing green ring on its hand.
What is this thing?
Hey, Ted, all due respect, but I don't think we should be touching anything. He slides the ring off the alien's finger and holds it in the palm of his hand.
Is this from Clark's planet, or what is it?
Ollie, with his incredible senses honed to detect danger in the jungle, feels that something's a little off. The hair rises on the back of his neck, and then in the corner of his eye, he notices movement in an alcove above them.
Did you hear that?
Ollie then abruptly turns and shoves Lois to the ground before he is completely incinerated by a heat wave from an alien weapon. Holy shit! Zod killed Green Arrow.
That's tough. That's really tough. Oliver Queen died 3 times. Once in a plane crash on a deserted island where he fought for his life for over a year, fought for the lives of the other survivors, shed away the arrogance and the selfishness, rebuilt himself in the image of a hero. He did all that without ever wanting to be Green Arrow. But once he tasted, well, he couldn't give it up. Oliver got addicted to a new drug and then died again. After his encounter with the cheetah, he gave up being the Green Arrow, wanted to dedicate himself to being the best version of Oliver Queen. And he only got about 8 months of that before he was killed by an enemy he didn't know, couldn't understand, in a moment he couldn't possibly have anticipated.
Ted Cord instantaneously tosses Pete the ring and fires his rifle up at Zod, striking him in one of his tentacles, causing the next ray gun shot to go wild, the heat beam gouging a canyon in the ice chamber, which Dick Grayson tumbles into, falling down into the lower levels of the fortress. Ted returns fire, taking cover, and Zod shoots again, this time directly at Pete. Pete Ross is going to die when the ring pops out of his palm, wraps around his finger, then projects a sparkling wall of emerald energy. The heat rays deflected harmlessly, punching another hole out into the blizzard of the night sky of the fortress's ceiling, and Pete is thrown backwards by the fiery impact, falling into the same chasm as Dick Grayson. Get Clark out of the chamber! Lois and Eddie drag Clark's corpse away on the gurney into another tunnel as Ted returns fire at Zod. Now, Zod is not a soldier, and Ted is. So now that the element of surprise has dissipated, Zod runs away like the little bitch he is. Ted chases Zod out into the massive main chamber of the fortress, firing again and again, hitting the alien in its back and its slug-like legless torso. Kryptonians, when they get shot, it's kind of like you shot a plant or a tree. It does damage, but it can't quite compare to the damage that it would do to a mammal like you and me. That being said, Zod does not like getting shot, and it does not feel good, so he hides behind the same translation array he used to talk to Clark in Superman Do-It-Yourself.
Please, this is just a misunderstanding. I can help you save your planet. I surrender.
Do you think I'm fucking stupid? Ted fires directly through the translation computer, striking Zod and sending him tumbling off the platform, where he scurries desperately to a tunnel, exiting the Fortress of Solitude out into the blizzard. And Ted is faced with a decision here. If he lets Zod go, there's no telling what he'd do next. But he needs to stay to help his friends. He dials Zatana on his Blue Beetle communicator, knowing she'll never receive it.
AZ is Ted. It's a bad situation up here. But I want to let you know I'm proud of you for coming back and for everything you did in Bloodhaven, for everything you've done. I love you, kid. Anybody still listening? 10:18, in pursuit of assailant now.
And Ted heads out into the storm.
Meanwhile, with Lois, Eddie, and dead Superman, they barely receive Ted's message, unable to contact anyone due to the interference from the Fortress of Solitude. Lois and Eddie are now alone with Clark's corpse. They are both freezing and exhausted, but make the commitment to bring Clark further. Eddie, at this point, is very aware that their mission has no real goal other than forward, but is inspired by Lois's refusal to give up. And it's not like they can go back the way they came. So, the two of them walk into the darkness, dragging Clark behind them in total silence. Outside, in the blizzard, there's near zero visibility, but Ted follows traces of purple sap in the snow to catch up with Zod. He opens fire repeatedly, blasting bits off the plant-like alien, which briefly disappears into the snowy fog. Ted loses sight of him only for a moment, but Ted Kord knows what it means to lose sight of an individual like this, human or otherwise. There's a noise behind him, and Ted Kord simply drops his rifle into the snow, and in a flash of light, he is reduced to ashes.
Ted died so soon after he first became happy. He had searched for contentment, peace, love, and family his whole life. Ted wasn't happy just being a superhero. He didn't want to be a vigilante. He wanted to fix things. He wanted to change things. A beat cop, a guy who was giving noise complaints and traffic tickets, changed the world. He died doing what he did best, chasing down a criminal, never giving up, making the world just a little easier for everybody who doesn't have superpowers. Rest in peace, Ted.
Eddie and Lois have dragged Clark's corpse higher and higher into the parapets of the Fortress of Solitude, where they discover a massive holographic screen made three-dimensional within a wall of ice. It's not quite a hologram because you're looking at a wall of ice, but it has more depth than a traditional television because the ice is thicker. So basically the way the technology works, I'm sorry, I'll get back to it. They can see endless streams of data running down as Brainiac 13, the psychotic and dangerous Brainiac on Krypton, communicates with the infant, damaged Brainiac of Earth. Eddie correctly identifies what's happening, saying the two alien computers are fighting with each other in confusion, but there's no control panels or interface of any kind. It's a dead end and they both know it. Lois finally starts to give up, slouching down over Clark's body. And that's when the translation panel starts to spark to life, forming up out of ice from the floor.
You fools! You don't know that your pawns in the destiny of the greatest being ever to live. Me. Look at what you've done. You brought my victory directly to me. Zod wins again!
Zod, covered in his own thick, sappy purple blood, slithers onto the platform and attempts to blast his ray gun at Eddie and Lois. But riddled with damage from Ted's bullets, the ray gun explodes and blasts off Zod's arm. Lois and Eddie go to take cover, but then rise to see Zod all kinds of fucked up, dragging Clark's corpse onto a platform rapidly growing out of the ground. Now, Lois and Eddie don't know what this thing is, but all you Kryptonian Epic heads out there will instantly recognize this from Krypton, Zod's masterpiece, the part of the Kryptonian Epic that's all about Zod. What, you didn't know about that? Well, fuck you. It's a hybridization chamber, yo. Clark's body being put in a thing by a homicidal alien is bad, so fuck it. Lois breaks into a full sprint and tackles Zod to the ground, ripping away bark and flesh from his wounds with her bare hands. Zod flings Lois violently off into the growing ray of icy computers when he's abruptly shot 6 times in the back by Eddie. Holy fuck, Eddie had a gun this whole time. You can't trust the Riddler, man. This dude was supposed to be an insane asylum. Where'd he get that gun? But still, you're shooting a tree. Zod turns and grabs Eddie around the throat with his remaining tentacle, trying to strangle him. But Lois jumps on his back and starts stabbing him with one of Ollie's green arrows. Zod drives her head into the ground and screeches, stumbling back. He squirms over to Clark, crawling away from them, and gives Clark's body a final shove into the regeneration chamber, which instantaneously seals like a sarcophagus. Blades violently pierce into every inch of the corpse. Those like fleshy flowers pop and burst into blood and sap. Zod sinks down into a second hybridization chamber, rapidly forming in the ground beneath them. Zod rants as we watch Clark's body get disassembled into endless blood-red folding petals. His whole body coming apart into these little gooey sheets, and we can see Zod's body beneath us being distorted and twisted and torn apart.
I told them, but they would never listen. Everyone thinks they're smarter than me. And how did it all end? Me as the last survivor of our entire race. You think it was what? A coincidence? I am the one who deserves to be a god. Kneel before me! Kneel before Zod!
Zod, now a hideous 8-foot-tall human-plant hybrid, an affront to every god of every religion, asymmetrical and deformed into an ugly, white-skinned bizarro version of Clark Kent out of some mad artist's nightmare floats into view. Zod rises above Eddie and Lois, and then rips a massive section of the wall away, flinging it out into the main chamber where it explodes into icy shards.
I'm so strong! It's everything I ever dreamed! Everything I ever predicted! They were all wrong, and I was right!
Zod looms down, his hideous face floating close to Lois, like Ripley in Alien 3. You know what I'm talking about.
My rebirth, and your planet's dead. It's almost like a poem. It's almost like...
BOOM! The ice chamber behind Zod explodes, sending fragments everywhere. A leathery red cocoon, like an unbloomed rose, pops out into the chamber and begins to grotesquely wriggle and writhe. The cocoon snaps and beautifully unfurls, falling like robes over Clark Kent as he rises. Eyes open and completely healed, effectively dressing him as an adult Kryptonian. The alien that was the man that was the alien that is the man that is the fucking Prince Reborn.
Was anyone really like he killed Superman in the middle of a thing called Superman, the Starlight Emperor? I don't fucking think so. Come on. Come on. What if I did, though? What if Clark was just dead? What if it was just over? What if he just got killed near the beginning and then there was still, you're like looking at, you're like, there's more than an hour of this left. Why? What is, where was I? There was something important happening.
This is one of Clark's most iconic looks in the epic. Full on like alien, Dune, Balenciaga. After a moment, Lois, eyes wide, frozen tears stuck to her face, processes what's happening. Clark? You alive? Clark smiles at her and then notices the monster version of himself floating nearby. What is that thing? Oh God, that's not supposed to be me, is it? Zod screams in anger and flies up, knocking Clark back out into the main atrium of the Fortress of Solitude, where the gate to the Phantom Zone still hangs open like a gaping black maw. Oh fuck yeah, here we go. It's Clark Kent versus General Zod in the Fortress of Solitude. It's classic Superman shit. And now we're gonna get to have another epic fight. Here they go, it's gonna be crazy.
Fight! KO!
So it's just like Clark has been trained by Batman and Green Arrow and has been able to fly and be Superman for his whole life. Zod just got that now and has never been in a fight and almost just lost a fight to Lois and Eddie. Knocked on his ass and beaten to shit, the humbled Zod begs for mercy as Clark slowly backs him towards the gateway to the Phantom Zone.
Please, no! I'm the last of your kind. If you kill me, you'll be alone.
I'm not gonna kill you. I think you're going back where you came from. Clark uses his I-beams to cut the ground in front of Zod, slowly backing him up towards the extra-dimensional prison where he was trapped for years. Please, please. I'm scared. Please.
Clark is Clark. You know, he's Superman. Like, despite himself, he's Superman. This guy's greatest weakness is that he's Superman. So of course this fucking idiot floats down to Zod, puts his hand on his shoulder, only for Zod to turn and grab him, blasting him with I-beams of his own, pushing Clark back towards the Phantom Gate. Zod begins to force Clark through the gate, dipping him into the oily black energy.
You were confused. This isn't your story. It's mine.
Zod freezes, releasing Clark, gagging on his own blood, a kryptonite blade having gone straight through the back of his neck and out the front of his head. Lex Luthor, trembling against the cold, emaciated from months of torture, bearded and insane looking, holds a kryptonite spear that he has used to stab Zod. Zod breaks free for a moment, the spear hanging off of him like a fishing hook out of a fish's mouth. But
I think it was you that were confused after all, friend.
Zod slips and falls, his body tumbling 30 feet to the ground below, splitting apart into a mess of human and Kryptonian organs. General Zod is dead.
Fuck yeah, thank God, General Zod is finally dead. You know, there's an argument to be made, and I'll go ahead and make it here, that Zod's hubris, arrogance, and cruelty are responsible for the events of the entire Kryptonian Epic. This is the guy who made Brainiac go crazy and created Doomsday, and then blew up the pod that was gonna go to Earth, so it fucked up, so he created Superman and Aquaman and Wonder Woman and pretty much all of the hybrids. This one dude was a big enough asshole that this might as well be called the Kryptonian Epic Zod's Legacy. And then he spent hundreds of years in an alternate dimension prison, and the first thing he thought when he got out was, let me do the most awful thing possible. Like, fuck him, okay? Fuck him. It's so good that he's dead. There are so few characters in this story who I will celebrate their death. Zod's one of them.
Luthor stands over the downed Clark, who's still recovering, still holding the kryptonite spear. Then after a moment, he drops it and offers his hand.
Get up, Kent. We have to go save the world.
In the stratosphere high above Earth, Darkseid is lifted in a pale purple beam back to the sacred grounds, his holy land, the dead planet Krypton, Warworld. His return after 70 years trapped and tortured on planet Earth is glorious, and he is greeted by a swarm of Eradicator drones flying up and around him like a celebration, a parade, their Eradicator lasers pointed squarely at him. He's welcomed in and greeted by the visage of his Lord and Savior, Brainiac 13.
Glory, glory. For decades, I waited. Tortured by those apes, suffering in your name, and you abandoned me. Your Messiah, your prodigal son, you left me to rot. Why have you forsaken me?
Your survival was not necessarily relevant to Brainiac 13. I have detected an active super hybrid presence. Planetary domination. Pending.
There is nothing on that planet worth saving. It will burn.
The Brainiac system and Kryptonian DNA have been detected on the planet beneath us. Initiating contact with the Brainiac of the planet. Wait for further instruction. Do nothing.
Yes, my lord. You are so wise.
Now, Darkseid's a pathetic follower. He's a true believer, like Vandal Savage. Both of these guys are essentially violent scumbag criminals who extemporaneously, upon having an encounter with a super powerful alien intelligence, decided that it meant they were the chosen one. And those little compromises true believers always seem to make with themselves, well, they exist here too, because even though Brainiac 13 just told him to wait, Darkseid begins charging Warworld's planetary cannons. Earth, the planet that imprisoned and tortured him, is going bye-bye, whether his god likes it or not.
Back on Earth, Lex has been joined by Eddie, Lois, and also Dick Grayson and Pete, who managed to find their way back up. Clark is still disoriented, not just because Lex is here, but also because he was beaten to death by a monster and then brought back to life by someone who wanted to kill him, who he then watched be killed in front of him. So Clark is kind of like going through it. He's not in a problem-solving mode, he's more in a problem mentality. So when Lex suggests that he perhaps has a way to help them out of the situation,
this isn't a time to let petty personal differences separate us and divide us. We're humans. We must unite together for humanity.
Shut the fuck up. Explain to me why we shouldn't just kill you right now, man. Like I've waited to have you alone in a room for so long and everybody here wants you dead. So explain to me what... Where is everybody? Lois reveals that they don't actually know where Ted is. He left chasing Zod. But Ollie is dead. Pete collapses. He's useless. One of his best friends was incinerated in front of him. The other one had died 3 hours before. Dick immediately heads off into the fortress in search of Ted. Luthor again urges them that now isn't the time. They can't focus on what they've lost. They have to push forward. What the fuck are you doing here, man? Why are you here? You want me to help you do anything? You caused all of this. You have tried to fucking murder me for 10 years. And now what? You killed someone else who's trying to murder me, so you're like first in line?
Yeah.
You want to skip the line?
Yes.
You're under my eyes right now. We're not friends. We're not allies. You are my prisoner, bitch.
Kind of unbecoming language for Superman, don't you think?
As Clark advances on Luthor, he's stopped when the infant Brainiac of Earth activates a super cool visual of the energy filling the crystallized structure in purple clouds. For the first time ever, Clark sees those 3 giant circles, melting pits of energy in the eyes of Brainiac. Brainiac identifies Clark as the last living Kryptonian and attempts to forcibly take him as its base mind, only for Eddie to immediately interject himself. This infant Brainiac's first base mind, Vandal Savage, abandoned. The second, Clark, ran away. The third, Zod, barely knew how to work the fucking thing, so this computer has like a bad attachment disorder and immediately wraps Eddie in ice once he's accepted as the base mind. No, you're staying with me, mommy. Eddie is now in direct psionic communication with Brainiac. This thing's a computer. There's something wrong with it. It's damaged somehow. Brainiac, it's communicating with the one in the sky. It says it wants to destroy this planet to purge it of the super hybrid, and I'm assuming that's that thing you fought in Metropolis. It's still alive. It's a ticking clock before we're destroyed. We need to get it off of Earth. How are we supposed to do that?
Clark, you're an alien, man, right? Like, I don't suppose you have like a spaceship lying around somewhere, right, man?
Actually,
about that. I may have an answer to this riddle, Eddie.
Back in Metropolis, Dr. Barry Allen is slowly waking up from his concussion. His leg is in a servo-assisted cast, but it's a sprain, not a break, and it takes him a moment to realize where he is. The richest man alive is in a parking lot next to hundreds of other people being triaged for their wounds in an impromptu hospital set up by emergency aid workers. Tents are going up, FEMA has finally arrived, and Barry is just another human being in an ocean of screaming, crying human beings. The full weight
of everything Barry has experienced is settling in on him now. It's rare that you see Barry Allen lost for words, but as he limps amongst the people, he certainly feels smaller than he did yesterday. Barry's a narcissist, but he's not without feeling. He loves his family. He loves the 2 or 3 people he liked talking to on Earth, 2 of whom are now dead. The shock is settling in, and Barry is handling it about as well as you'd expect, which is to say not good at all. He sees Rudy Jones, the parasite, having open-air surgery on his stomach by doctors. Doomsday coming out of Rudy might have looked pretty violent and brutal and lethal in the moment, but in actuality, Rudy really only has a puncture wound about the size of a golf ball right here, and he's probably gonna make it. Barry just walks on, keeps looking, waiting, wondering. Normally, Barry would already be acting like a Karen and asking to speak to whoever was in charge, but he can't summon it up in himself. And then he sees Diana, the Wonder Woman, with one arm. She's still helping to clear rubble, helping to excavate survivors from the ruins of downtown. If this was a movie, this whole sequence would essentially be a wordless long take following Barry in Metropolis, sort of one of those epic after the disaster shots, finally landing on him finding Diana, helping them load Killer Croc up onto a platform so they can do surgery on the bite wounds on his shoulders. Waylon's gonna be okay, but monster trying to bite your head off leaves a mark. Barry and Diana have a long and complicated history. He thinks she's an idiot, and she thought he was a robot, and together they were forcibly coerced by Lex Luthor into being part of his Justice League for years. After Barry left, it all fell apart, and they haven't spoken since.
Di, hey!
Hello, Dr. Allen.
What are you doing here? Your fucking arm's gone. You're still up walking around? Chill. Take a minute. You're not on the clock anymore. This isn't our responsibility. We're not superheroes. We did the thing. We fought the monster. And let me remind you, if that thing hadn't shown up there, we'd all be awaiting an inquest, all right? These people aren't our friends. We're not the Justice League anymore. Come with me. I'll get you airlifted out of here. We can just leave.
Yes, leave and go where? Exactly. You still think I'm stupid, but I was just a stranger in your world when Luthor took me from the Amazons. For a long time, when I learned of their fate, I thought perhaps my life was some kind of cosmic joke. You know, for a long time, I believed I would be the one to save the world. These things I do now, this fight with the beast, it is the first meaningful good thing I have ever chosen to do. I am not a pawn. I am not a toy. Neither are you. We are powerful people, but we are still people. If I leave here and run, I have nowhere to go. I thought I would go to Mount Olympus. I thought I would see the gods with my own eyes. And perhaps it won't be Mount Olympus. But the fact is, Barry, you and I are both meant to go up. I'm sorry, up? What do you mean by up? To take back Mount Olympus.
Yeah, right. I'm gonna find a way out of this. You'll see.
In the ruins of Metropolis' Seaquarium, Jimmy Olsen has brought Zatana to recuperate under the watchful eyes of Arthur Curry, or should I say, eye, because the other one, it doesn't appear it's growing back. Zatana is still not fully healed. She's kind of like a David Cronenberg-y like mess of gooey bits, but it's starting to look reasonably more like a human being at this point. It's actually worth talking about the way Zatana heals, just because it's an interesting visual. So Zatana's power is separate from everything else in the epic. It's not connected to Krypton at all, and we never explain it. Not now, not ever. Not in things after this, and not in things before. She is simply magical, but it involves the fundamental manipulation of reality. So when she's healing, she's not healing like Wolverine or Deadpool or any of the various other magical healing characters of comic book lore. It instead looks like her body is being painted back into existence with brushstrokes. An artist reforming a self-portrait, redesigning her own body as she did when she first left vagrancy to become a pop star. Zatana slowly comes back together, and when she wakes up, her first concern is Clark. Arthur doesn't know where Clark is, and Jimmy informs Arthur that Clark appears to have died. Zatana begins to cry, but Arthur immediately blows it off.
They took him to the Fortress of Solitude. I suspect he'll be back soon.
You told me he was dead. Jimmy, Arthur, is he dead or not?
Relative to you, he was barely injured at all.
Arthur and Zeke kind of have a bonding moment here. Both of them are orphans. Both of them were thrown around by people trying to manipulate their powers, and they have more in common than they would have ever imagined. And the thing they really share now is, like Barry Allen in the wake of Doomsday, for the first time in their lives, they feel small. The sound of helicopters is approaching. The Blue Beetle communicators beat to life. It can't be an incoming message from Clark motherfucking Kent. The military are arriving en masse to Metropolis. Hundreds of helicopters, thousands of tanks and infantry sieging the city. The United States government arriving, as usual, about 6 hours too late. The calcified corpse of Doomsday is being besieged on all sides, locked down by soldiers and Humvees and armored transport vehicles, until the crowd parts like Moses as Clark Kent floats down out of the sky. General Armand Hardcastle. You remember him? The guy at Area 51? He's an interesting character because Armand has essentially been like a ghost going throughout the Kryptonian Epic. We mainly hear about him through surveillance reports that he makes on the various bigger events that take place in this universe. The most notable, of course, being the incident at Ace Chemicals. But what he really is a Clark Kent fanboy. Having access to be able to see all of the decisions Clark has made through the government's surveillance and understand the story of Superman more intimately, perhaps than anyone else other than Clark himself, it's given him a unique take. When Clark floats down, this is the first time Armand Hardcastle and Clark Kent have been in the same place at the same time.
He's here now. Repeat, Kent is here. He's alive and he's on site. Mr. Kent, Clark, I'm Armand Hardcastle. It's such a pleasure to meet you. I've waited years for this moment.
Oh yeah, and that's actually really great, Mr. Hornduster, and I really appreciate that, but I actually have to take this out of here. What do you think the best way to lift it?
Yeah, I gotta take the monster. We gotta take him up to the planet before it destroys the Earth. I actually really can't talk to you. You can't just take this. Bless you, but like, I really actually have to go. Mr. Kent!
Clark starts to cautiously try to lift Doomsday as Diana, Barry, Arthur make their way into the area, called by their Blue Beetle communicators.
Guys, it's so good you're here. Is this everybody who can walk? I'm afraid this is all of us, Kent. Where are we going? Where do you think we're going?
Arthur and Diana laugh and climb up onto Doomsday. The heroes of the Kryptonian Epic united as, "You're all fucking stupid, you know that, right?
Thank you, Dr. Allen. Feel free to stay behind, please.
We shouldn't be following him anymore. What's he ever done but lead us into trouble?
Barry, don't be foolish. You really want to stay here with the regular people?"
Why don't you shut up, Diana?
And at that, Barry Allen climbs up to join them on Doomsday, and they launch into the sky.
Super! Kent! Hey! Hey, what the fuck? Kent!
Back at the Daily Planet, Jimmy Olsen reunites with Lois Lane. Jimmy's covered in ash and dirt, and Lois is fresh from her fight with Zod. She's still like shaking off the chills from Antarctica. Lois, what the heck is going on? Is it true what they're saying? Is Clark back? Clark's alive, Jimmy, and I'll explain everything, but the first thing we need to do is get this out here. We need to use the Blue Beetle networks. Clark recorded a message.
A message? A message for who? For everybody.
AM radio and the Blue Beetle Network are the only two forms of communication that aren't being blocked globally by Brainiac 13. So many people are arming nuclear weapons that are barely functioning with their guidance systems being scrambled by Brainiac. The human race could tip this doomsday into a full-blown apocalypse. Ever since Clark literally helped save the world during the Toyman fiasco, people have assigned a certain level of spiritual significance to that big red S, whether he likes it or not. And that's why Lois knew that it would have to be him who spoke to the human race.
Hello, Earth. It's me. You know me. It's Superman. I just wanted to talk to you for a second. Pete, can you give me my glove? Thank you. I know your instinct is, I gotta do something. And I'm talking to you right now. I need you to do nothing. Just sit still. Your neighbor is not your enemy. For the first time ever, all of us, all of humanity, we have one enemy. And if you're doubting me, just look up. I need you to give me 4 hours and not burn the world down while I'm trying to save it, because we are gonna save it. I'm not asking you to trust me. I'm asking you to do me a favor here. Do everyone you've ever met or will meet a favor here and don't burn the world down. I have this situation under control. Turn that off. Give me 4 hours and Superman will save the world.
And Jesus, you're going on too long.
And the Justice League is coming too.
We aren't even the fucking Justice League anymore. It's like watching high school public speaking.
Thank you.
All over the world, there are reports of riots stopping, of nuclear powers standing down. And yeah, is it corny? Is it sentimental? Is it utopian? Is it optimistic to the point of ludicrous lunacy? Yes. But I'm not making this up. This is all what really happened. At Niagara Falls, tens of thousands of gallons of water slam down as a tiny ferry approaches, Doomsday's body strapped to the back of its deck. It's just this sick image of Pete on the deck with Diana and Arthur towing the ferry in the water and Barry sitting on the back near Doomsday and Clark floating above them as they approach the waterfall. And then beams of light shine through it and the waters part, revealing a hidden LexCorp lab, Luthor's crown jewel, the Niagara base. It's so crazy. It's like every time we reveal another hidden Luthor base, there's like 2 more waiting. Well, spoiler, this is the last story of the epic, and this is the 3rd to last trick Luthor has up his sleeve, so enjoy it while you can. And the ferry drifts into this massive hangar lit with white light, and Lex steps out to greet them. But then, pushing past him is a wild-eyed man named Kent Nelson.
My babies, my babies, my babies, welcome to Niagara. Welcome to your destinies. I'm delighted to have you.
You? I know this prick. This is Kent Nelson. He's a quantum physicist. But you're dead. He's dead.
Ah, Barry, you were dead once too. Funny how that's become a temporary condition, right, Clark?
Don't touch me. What? Who is he?
Don't touch me. So, Clark, my babies.
Nelson can barely fit his arms around Arthur and moves on from that weird hug to kissing Diana on both cheeks as she stands still like a confused and disgusted statue.
If you only knew how long I've followed each of you. Tracing your stories backwards throughout your lives to the moments of your creation. Arthur, your exploded mother. Diana, your dead family. Clark, your fake parents. I love it. I've loved every second of it. Now I'm part of it. God, it's like being a guest star on my favorite TV show.
Luthor approaches them in a gorgeous suit, showered and clean-shaven, looking somehow even more dangerous than he did as a crazed, bearded, homeless guy. Dr. Nelson has been my head of private research on the origins of Green 71 since its discovery. His death, like yours, Barry, was a necessary illusion to achieve the scope of work that I intended. Oh yeah? And what scope of work was that? Complete understanding and control of alien technology. Luthor leads the group deeper into the facility, everyone moving with trepidation, ready for a fight at any moment. They walk out into a giant hangar bay filled with different scientific projects. It's almost like a gallery in a museum.
What the fuck? That's a flash suit. That's my design. You took my design, you prick.
Don't have a tantrum, Barry. We were never able to get it working without your tech. Something about the guidance systems, steering at high speeds. Luthor is suddenly plucked off his feet by the neck by Arthur Curry. We see what's triggering Arthur. It's one of the only things the government didn't have for the inquest. That's Stephen Shin's Black Manta armor from Aquaman at the Depths of Madness.
You contemptuous bastard! How did you get this? Where did you get this?
Arthur, put him down.
This is the same armor the blasphemer was wearing when he killed my father! Made from stolen pieces of the sacred city beneath the sea!
No, you should be lucky I preserved this piece of your history. How can you even think of the past in a moment like this when human lives are in danger? Diana stumblingly approaches a display at the far end of the hangar. 50 Amazonian skeletons charred black from the nuke that destroyed their race, strung up, still in their melted and crushed armor. Beneath each of them is an Amazonian sword of composite Kryptonian alloy, exactly like the one Luthor gifted Diana when she still believed she was a servant of Zeus. And there, at the end of the row of skeletons, is a smaller corpse. The corpse of a child. These are Nubia's bones. She was my sister in the tribe. You kill them all, and then you take the bones as what? Some kind of prize? You pay for this. It's about this point here that everybody in the room simultaneously realizes that Diana and Lex Luthor have not been in the same room at the same time since the end of Superman for All Mankind, when she found out that he murdered her entire tribe. Diana smashes the glass and grabs one of the swords, turning and swinging it at Lex, only for Pete to stumble as a green band of energy leaps off the ring on his hand, forming a wall between Diana and Luthor. All eyes in the room go to Pete. Hey, Diana, I didn't do it. I didn't mean to do that. It just did that. I thought you were going to kill him, and it just did that. It does that? What the fuck? Peter, this man is a liar. He has pillaged our histories even as he tried to destroy our lives. He will die by my hand. I would have hoped your attitude would be a little brighter, Diana. You used to be so receptive to strong leadership. And here I stand bearing a gift, another in a long tradition of my gifts to you. Dr. Nelson, fresh out the shop. Used to be a Batman arm, if you can believe it. Retrofitted it myself when I heard that creature had had a little taste of Amazon, if you know what I mean. Right? Clark looks at it as it's being offered, scanning it with X-ray vision. Really, Clark? If I was going to put a trap into that, do you think it would be something that you, of all people, could find? Okay. Wonder Woman takes the gauntlet to her arm and sticks it on there, and you know, you've seen a movie where Lex leads the group through a gate into an adjacent chamber. It's like a knockoff Batcave in here. All this technology is a little familiar, but the most familiar thing is the centerpiece. A NASA space shuttle that's been completely retrofitted with Kryptonian technology. It looks a little bit like Blue Beetle's The Bug. It looks a little bit like Batman's jet, the Batwing, but what it really looks like is the pod that Clark came down in. The pod that had been kept secret for years until it was stolen and replaced with a replica by Bruce Wayne. How did you build this? Some might say that until recently I was one of the most powerful men on the planet, and your friend, the lunatic Bruce Wayne, was very good at keeping secrets. But there's only so much you can hide with real money on the line. Clark is understandably freaked out and disgusted as Luthor instructs a team of scientists to begin loading Doomsday onto the spaceship. 25 minutes later, Barry Allen sits alone in a private lab modifying Luthor's version of the Flash suit. It's bulkier than his. yellow, blades on the joints, clearly built for combat. He's disgusted, but not as disgusted as he looks when Luthor walks into the room. Now, I don't want to fuck this up because this is important dialogue, so I hope you don't mind if I quit going for the Emmy and try a read-along here. You never understood. The suit wasn't the point. Look at this thing. It looks like an action figure. It wasn't supposed to be a weapon. It was just supposed to be a way to demo the technology.
Yes, I understand that it was a little different than your vision, Barry. It's been interesting watching you become a superhero and now a genius, a revolutionary, the richest man alive. And to know the whole time that none of it would have happened if it weren't for me. Where would you be without me, really, Barry? Rotting in a European prison cell? Armies of budget-built flash suits available to every military in the world, burning paths of chaos across every continent. You know, I heard what happened to Victor, and I'm sorry. But I won't pretend. We all could have built something beautiful together. And then he ruined it. He ruined everything. Victor was a great man, but he was flawed. Like you, and like me.
You love doing that. You love comparing yourself to more interesting people. You know, like, I see why you'd say, like you're like me and Victor. But just to be candid with you, you're not that smart. On your best day, you're a 10th of me and a 100th of Victor. We make things, you steal them. We create things, you pervert them. You think you're a great man? No, I'm a great man. I'm a genius, and you're a thug. I don't need revenge. My dream is that you become irrelevant. But if you make one false move towards me, or Diana, or any of the other dumb motherfuckers that are going up there, I'll kill you so fast you won't even know you're dead.
Barry activates the flash suit and it springs rigidly to life. Luthor's people tried for 9 years to get this thing to work, and Barry just did it in about 30 minutes. Lex looks like this.
Yikes.
In the strange light of Warworld hovering above, Pete Ross stands on a scenic overlook over Niagara Falls, repeatedly trying to take the green ring off his finger. He pulls it off, it snaps back. He pulls it off, it snaps back on. Hey Pete, you having trouble with the jewelry?
Yeah, I can't tell if the thing's fucking broken or if it's supposed to do this.
You know, I've actually seen one of these before.
What?
The night we got in that really bad fight in Uptown, I went out the window and I tried to fly to the moon.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I was pretty fucking drunk.
Yeah, and I didn't tell you, but I saw some of these alien guys up there with the rings, and they like put me in a green box.
Yeah, man, I actually remember that.
Oh, really?
You hugged me while you were naked. It was a mindfuck, man.
Oh,
Clark, how is it like every time you tell me some crazy shit, there's like 3 crazier things you still haven't told me? I mean, you know how this thing works? I can't get it to do anything. I can get it to kind of make shapes. Watch. It made a shape a second ago. Hold on.
Pete makes a 2-dimensional circle, then a triangle, then a square. The sun is almost completely risen now, but you can only see it in a sliver of the horizon between Earth and Warworld. It's one of the craziest sunrise shots ever, with a planet on top and another beneath, and the sun sort of sandwiched in between, rays of light streaking through the toxic, low-lying atmosphere of Warworld and creating an aurora borealis in the sky.
Good triangles.
So Pete, I know how this is going to sound, but I would just really appreciate if you came up there with me, with us, to the...
No, I don't know, man.
Unless you need triangles up there, if you ran into real trouble, I don't think I'm much help at all. No, that's not actually why I want you to come. I don't need you to be a superhero. Everyone going up with me is bringing their own baggage up there. Diana and Arthur have their own weird ideas about what this all means. Dr. Allen is a prick, and Z, I love her, but in hot moments, she gets real hot. And I don't know, what if there's 100 more of those fucking monster things up there? What if there's some other new horrible alien guy? Pete, I'm fucking scared, man. You make me feel safe. And I need to feel safe if I'm gonna do this, because I wanna go home. You know, Clark, if I go up there, of everybody going, you know, it's probably me that's not coming back, right? Well, if you get in trouble, I'll save you. It's like my whole thing is saving people. Did you forget, Pete? I'm Superman. Oh man, why don't you go fuck yourself? I'm gonna fucking go on a spaceship now. I can't with this, Clark. Ha-ha, yes! You're going, it's exciting. Oh, spaceship today, I'm going to space today.
Frame it in your head as exciting and an adventure. And you get to do it with me.
Dude, I've been on road trips with you. I would rather go to space with anyone else. Purple lightning arcs through the sky and the clouds part as Zatana floats down to breathe. There she is. I knew you'd come back because you got a good heart. You got a cute little good heart. Clark, it's not about my heart. You see, I've been thinking about it, and I'm not sure I can die. But if everyone else on the planet were dead, it might be pretty lonely. Did Lois tell you we're going on a spaceship? Lex's spaceship? He's safe until this is over. In fact, I feel quite rational at the moment. You know, Clark, I always wanted to see where you were from, but I dreaded going to Kansas. Perhaps, if we see your home together, one day, I can see mine.
It's been a long day. Back at the Fortress of Solitude, Dick Grayson discovers the burnt, melted patch of ice that used to be Ted Cord and wanders back inside. You know, Dick's been on kind of a hard, weird road in the epic. He spent his whole childhood in service to a sociopath, and in theory, his arc is kind of completed. During the Doomsday fight, he became Batman. The Squire became the Knight. But it was never Dick's intention to become Batman. In fact, Batman, in Dick Grayson's mind, is kind of a horrible, bad thing, the monster that controlled the man he considered a father. Headed back into the main atrium, Dick Grayson discovers Eddie, still enshrouded in ice, locked against the wall, his eyes white and sightless, connected to Brainiac. He's muttering something, and Dick gets close to him, listening. They're riddles. Eddie is muttering riddles. The infant Brainiac is such a primitive intelligence that trying to solve the riddles is stopping it from communicating to the Brainiac up there that Earth is good to be destroyed. This is a man who Dick Grayson fought as a child. That's the Riddler. And now he's the only thing standing between Earth and total annihilation? Dick hears a noise and sees the shape of a figure disappearing into the darkness. He could stay here, protect Eddie, but that's not really how Bruce trained him. Bruce trained him to solve problems, not ignore them. So Dick Grayson wanders back into the dark.
Back in Metropolis, the Daily Planet is hustling and bustling with activity. The combined police forces of both Bloodhaven and Gotham have arrived to help with disaster relief. That means we get to see all the fun old Batman and Blue Beetle characters. Elaine Wiskowski, Jamie Reyes, Harvey Bullock, Renee Montoya. Everybody's here. Ugh. Except Lois. She's in her office, staring at her Blue Beetle communicator and waiting and waiting and waiting. And then, hey Clark, so are you going up? Yeah, I am, we are. What are you wearing? Nothing Lex gave you. Oh, come on. Put on one of the old Ollie suits. Clark, actually, if you have a second, can you change? Why? Just an optics thing. I mean, if you save the world again and you're wearing the same thing, I understand the branding, but there's going to be a lot of pictures when you get back, and I'm worried it won't read. I am coming back, Lois. Okay, but there's a plan, right? A good plan? One that wasn't thought of by Arthur, or Diana, or Pete. Of course not. Or Z. Or Barry Allen. And also, the plan should probably not come from you. No, of course not. We got the plan from Dr. Fate. Who? Kent Nelson. He's this weird guy we just met. Kent, this is an entirely new person? Yeah, pretty much. But it's not from Luthor, right? No, he just works for Luthor. I know, I said it, and I hear it when I say it. Okay, I'm just gonna let go. You got this, you're gonna do it. Yeah? One more thing. When I announced, do you think I run with the narrative that you guys have some kind of secret advantage? Also, you always get the human angle a little better than I do. Do you think I include that Luthor and Z are coming with you, or do I keep that in a pocket until you're back? Yeah, I'd say list full team. And yeah, list Luthor and Z too. People love a redemption story. Plus, it's like all the faces people have come to know, and it places it. Right. Context means people can have hope, and blah, 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 context. Hey, you're gonna save the planet again. Yeah, I got it. I love you. Hey, I love you too. Hey, hopefully if everything goes okay, I'll see you in about 2 hours. It's gonna work, Lois. Everybody's really on the same page. Okay. I trust your judgment, and I'm sorry if anything I said during this call implied that, oh yeah, we're gonna talk about it later. Yeah, because you know, the plan thing was just, no, I heard it. I heard the plan thing, and we're gonna talk about that later. Okay, for sure. Bye, I love you. Okay, I love you. So they're all sitting down into the spaceship, strapping in. It's like Armageddon, but there's one empty seat right next to Lex. A swirl of energy, a puff of smoke, and Zatana appears directly next to Lex Luthor. Now, keep in mind, the last time these two people were in the same room,
I will kill you.
so the vibe's not good. But Lex just laughs. Relax, Lex. She's with us.
I'm not afraid, Kent. I was a great fan of her last personal performance, and I was worried she wouldn't get a chance to see my t-shirt.
He unzips the front of the black manta armor, revealing a Zatana World Tour t-shirt.
Everyone, it's quite all right. Just a little joke between me and Alexander. He's tried and failed to kill me 4 times already. I'm not worried about him hurting my feelings.
I think he knows how much danger he's really in.
Don't you, Alex?
Why so sour, all of you? We're going to save the world. Have a little fun with it.
Oh, y'all just gonna let that fly? The man's a fucking sadist. It's obvious he's going to betray us as soon as we're up there. No one's worried about that but me, really? Because I see scared face, scared face, scared face, scared face. Diana, you always make the same face.
He was always like this. When we were in Justice League together, it was same, always complaining.
I'm the only one with anything to fucking lose. I'm the only normal person here. Did you think of that? None of you have families. None of you have kids. You're here because mommy and daddy made you gods.
This is the smartest man on Earth.
It wasn't supposed to go this way. I wasn't supposed to die up here, but that's what's gonna happen.
Enough.
We're all gonna die up here. Attitude. I told you to adjust it, yeah? Back in your apartment, I said adjust your attitude. Your little brat kid talked to you. You got a better fucking smile on your face. Find it again, Barry. Fucking bumpkin. You fucking hick. You fucking redneck pig. Enough. Attitude. Fix it.
Hit him again, Peter. If I hit him, I'll kill him.
Assholes. You're all fucking assholes.
The ship begins to rumble. Its Kryptonian propulsion systems, never before used, roaring to life. And everything's shaking. Pete looks over at Clark, his first friend, his best friend from childhood. And Clark looks really fucking freaked out.
Hey, come on, man.
Well, guess we're going to space.
Space?
And then he is slammed backwards by the power of the propulsion. Blue waves of energy launching the spacecraft up off the Earth's surface, past the clouds, into the stars. It's the thing in the movie where the spaceship is taking off and everything's shaking like an alien. And everything is shaking
Like in Armageddon.
Everything's shaking on the spaceship
Like Apollo 13.
What's that movie about killing Bin Laden?
Zero Dark 30?
Yeah.
Back at the Fortress of Solitude, 6 military Humvees roll up, kicking up snow everywhere. Waller got sick of waiting and ordered a detachment of Marines and General Hardcastle to go through the portal and see what was up. They deploy up there like Zero Dark 30, going up the massive ice steps, Hardcastle following behind, M16s and grenade launchers. They look badass until the ice under their feet twists and changes shape, grabbing and pulling them down, crushing them and ripping them apart. Hardcastle has to scramble, falling down the front of the Fortress of Solitude back to his Humvee from the transforming monstrous cybernetic ice. All the soldiers are trapped and immobilized, and Hardcastle watches from the Hummer in terror as Vandal Savage drops down and begins ripping them apart with his bare hands. Yeah, they shoot him with machine guns. It does nothing.
You stand in the way of the Lord's will, and for this you are cursed to hell.
Hardcastle is ducked down behind the dash of the Hummer as he watches Vandal stalk towards him. He rips off the door of the military vehicle.
Now you see how truly small you are. This place was all built for me, and you will bear witness to...
Armand drops out of the shotgun side of the Hummer, and Vandal looks down to see a grenade sitting on the seat. Boom! Blows up in his face! Shears half of his fucking skin off like the Terminator. High in Earth's orbit, everything tilts at a sickly angle as gravity reorients itself. Earth is now up and Krypton is now down. They are entering the magnetic field of another planet. Dr. Nelson comes up on all of the screens around them.
Hello, darlings, it's Daddy, Dr. Fate. You've arrived home, Clark. Aren't you just thrilled? The Brainiac computer on that planet will recognize the presence of a hybrid on board your ship. That's you, baby. It'll take control and guide you in safely. At least that's the theory. But I've had a lot of theories. Some of them about tequila, and they all went wrong. In mere moments, you'll be the first humans ever to fully penetrate the atmosphere of Krypton. Aren't you excited? I am. I'm hearing alarm bells, babies. Here comes Brainiac. TTFN. See you in the epilogue. Kryptonian Epic forever.
identified progressing past from his craft, identify the heathens that approach within.
That voice. I recognize that voice. It's the same one from the city under the sea in the ice fortress. That's the voice that drove my father mad. If you scan our occupants, you'll find there's a Kryptonian hybrid aboard. You're the ones who stole his birthright. My birthright? What?
Kryptonian DNA signature confirmed. Adjusting the to the baseline.
All of their control systems cut out and glow Brainiac purple as Brainiac 13 takes control of the ship.
Kryptonian passenger, welcome home. My name is Brainiac 13. How would you like to proceed?
Restore power and communications to the planet beneath us, and maybe if you could just like back your planet up a little bit.
I can't do that. My senses are reading the presence of a superhybrid aboard your craft. This implies a superhybrid of the station on the planet below. Once I get a clear answer from your planet's Brainiac, I will proceed to destroy the
No, there was only one down there, and we got it. We have it with us. It's not on the planet anymore.
There's never just one. All chances for a superhybrid to exist must be obliterated for Krypton to be safe, and for the Kryptonian people to survive.
Kryptonian people? There are no Kryptonian people. I'm the last one. I'm the one you've been waiting for.
I'm seeing signs that the technology aboard your craft has been tampered with. I think it's best that I take a look for myself.
Rising up like a swarm of hornets, the Eradicator drones, the same killing machines that Brainiac 13 used to purge the entire planet of Krypton, now decayed and decrepit from years of neglect, but still as deadly as ever. They are outnumbered 10,000 to 1, and they are completely surrounded. The ship rumbles and begins to rapidly descend towards Krypton's surface. Through the windows, they can see the insane constructions Brainiac has been up to for the hundreds of years Krypton's been a dead world. The weird cathedrals and communication arrays communicating to nothing, the weapons built to destroy no one, the tools of destruction that only ever were used on the planet itself. There are charred bodies of Kryptonians, still calcified, husks of the beings that used to populate this world, cities full of skeletons rotting away under the harsh light of chemical fires that never stop burning. Look, are those Kryptonians? No way, it's all just corpses. My whole planet is just corpses?
I'm sorry, Kent. Were you expecting a fucking parade?
For years, Clark has tried to picture what Krypton would look like in his head. What it actually looks like is a graveyard. Brainiac 13's central processing unit is built into a Grand Canyon-style gouge in the earth, covered in what appear to be stained glass ventricles that go up in seemingly random directions. It's like the Winchester Mystery House's The Death Star. The ship, still surrounded by Eradicator drones, touches down alongside the cathedral. They made it. Outside the window, they can see just hundreds of Brainiac drones buzzing around like flies on a dead body. And then they hear this horrible metallic wrenching sound as the drones rip the super hybrid's corpse free of the ship and carry it up into the sky, only to drop it into one of the massive furnaces eternally burning along with hundreds of thousands of other monsters like it. This planet is a furnace that burns Doomsdays. There's a rush of air and they can hear wind blowing over the ship, and again the voice of Brainiac.
Atmospheric conditions now appropriate for life forms detected. Please step out of the vehicle for inspection.
There's another wrenching noise and all of the doors automatically open. They gasp, their helmets aren't on. But Brainiac has modified it so there is now breathable air on Krypton. As they step out onto the alien soil, the sky is blotted out by the swarm of Brainiac drones scanning them, their targeting lasers pointed dead at our heroes. Brainiac speaks through the drones.
Kryptonian, welcome home. We have waited for this moment since the Great Reckoning. With you, we can start again and build Krypton anew. But first, there's the matter of your companions. My drones detect anomalous energy and illegal hybridization in several of the beings with you. They must summarily be destroyed.
All of the drones blossom open, their weapons charging, lasers capable of incinerating anything in the galaxy, thousands of them pointed at our heroes. Zatana steps forward, focused, perfectly focused, as she manifests an iron rod floating in front of her. It hangs in the air, a simple piece of steel, and then she snaps. There's a second of silence, and then the group realizes that thousands of duplicates of the exact same iron rod have now gone straight through every single Brainiac drone. Zatana just wiped out an entire army by herself. Suddenly, thousands of Eradicator drones are falling out of the sky. Pete's ring lights up and he creates a shield over their heads. The drones split in different directions, falling aside. Pete's staring up. He can't even believe he just did that. As the group stands over the army of dead robots, Zatana's nostrils begin gushing blood and she collapses forward. Lex catches her right before she hits the ground. Marvelous. Look at the raw power. I always knew you were capable of something like this. You just needed the proper motivation. Zatana's never done anything at that scale. Wiping out an entire army, using her powers that way overloads her. It's not clear how they work, but she can't do that twice in a row. In fact, right now she can barely walk. So Diana takes her from Lex, puts her on her back. All eyes go to the alien cathedral that stands over them and the lone dark figure waiting for them on a balcony. High atop the parapet in the alien cathedral, Darkseid looks on in panic as the Brainiac drones drop out of the sky. Nothing in his crusade has ever prepared him for something like Zatana. This guy doesn't even have a frame of reference for who Clark Kent is. Now, there's only one option to continue his holy crusade. It's his planet, not theirs. It's his destiny, not theirs. And if he has to fight them for it, then he will. As they get closer, Pete wonders what Ollie would have thought of all this. Arthur says he's not sure a bow and arrow would have come in much help on an alien planet, but they probably could have used the levity. As they get closer and closer, Pete starts to sing, "Country roads, take me home." It's one of those moments that's hard to do in narration like this because it requires actors and performance and not just a guy in a chair doing voices, but the main characters sing, "Take me home, country roads," as they walk towards their inevitable death inside of an alien temple. Even Lex sings a little bit, but Barry does not. Diana's the only other one being silent. When Barry looks to her, she looks back at him. They've been on a wild journey together, and Barry knows he's about to die. He knows. He knows. Diana says, "You see, Barry, you're not so smart. It's all true. Hades waits for us. It's real. You cannot tell me this is not the underworld. Everything is as Luthor said it would be when he took me from the island. Isn't that right, Lex Luthor? You said you would unite the gods against the forces of darkness. You thought you were telling me a lie, but it was true. You see, Barry, it was true. If we die here, we die the death of great heroes united to protect the people of Earth. It is just like a legend. It is better than a legend. It is better than anything I could have hoped, any lie I was told.
Our deaths will be beautiful. Here comes motherfucking Darkseid.
Smoke, 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 smoke. Dramatic, 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 dramatic.
Ben Dame on the fog machine. Hey, back to it, don't break immersion. Clark gives a little motion like this. And the group fans out, and you realize how actually outnumbered Darkseid truly is now that his robots are gone. Hey, hi! There's 7 of us, and 1 of you. You saw what Z did to your robots. Don't fight. This doesn't have to be a bad moment. I know there's been some kind of misunderstanding, because there's no reason for you to hate us, right? You're an alien. This can be an important moment in the history of Earth. Don't fight. Darkseid's response. You know what, fuck it. I'm gonna do it without the mask.
Millions have died at the hands that now reach towards you, Earthlings. Your planet imprisoned me, tortured me, experimented upon me, but it could not stop your fate. The last infection of the demonic plague spun loose from your world. Now all will burn to cinders. Your planet's screams will squeal high as the oxygen boils inside their lungs. I am no mere alien. I am Lord Darkseid, the Starlight Emperor of Krypton. And I will wash your world clear with the light of 1,000 suns.
He raises the staff, and the massive furnace engines of Krypton alight behind him. Clark goes like this. Dr. Allen, for Barry Allen's entire life, he wanted to believe that he was worth his mother's love. The problem is, his mother was a cruel, capricious person who constantly set goals that Barry could never reach. And his mother was also a brilliant physicist. So those goals got bigger and bigger, and nothing would ever be enough. And Barry, on some level, even after he changed the world, even after he got the 0-point technology out to the people of the planet, even after he proved that he was a fate of the species defining genius, he was still a miserable prick. And he's still a coward, because it'll still never be enough. So when Clark Kent, a man he neither likes nor respects, indicates to him, Dr. Allen, attack the alien, there is a moment of hesitation. And then he activates the flash suit. And time stops. Barry takes the first steps towards Darkseid, and the alien warlord doesn't move at all.
You're too slow. I thought you were gonna kill me. You're just like everyone else on Earth. You're not fast enough to catch the Flash. You know, I was thinking I'm never gonna see my kids again. I was thinking I'm gonna die up here. This thing's gonna crush me. Oh, the big scary alien warlord. There's no one who can beat me. And you have any idea what you just stepped in? That's Superman. He's famous for beating the shit out of people. That's Aquaman, he's a murderer. That girl Zatana is a singer and she just killed your entire army. We're gonna win. I'm gonna save planet Earth. And you know what, buddy? It starts just like this.
Flash collides with Darkseid at 951 miles an hour, launching him hundreds of feet into the air. Darkseid is flailing. He didn't even see what hit him. He just sees a line of fire disappearing over the horizon and something coming up in his peripheral vision. Clark spikes him like a volleyball. As he crashes outside the other side of the building, Clark's already there. Eye beams. Now he's ricocheting, going the other direction. Wall, floor, ceiling, wall, crash. Darkseid finds himself on a landslide of wreckage as they fall down into Krypton's massive cooling and sewage tunnels. Boom! Diana collides with him from behind, drop kicks him into a wall and begins hacking at him with the sword like Jason Voorhees. Wham, 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 wham! He gets the staff up, fires a blast of energy, but it's blocked by a green wall of light. Clark floats down holding Pete. It's Superman using Green Lantern like a gun. Get him, Pete! I'm trying! Do another one! I'm trying! Do something that's not a triangle! It just keeps making triangles! Pete summons a massive shovel made out of green light, and it hits Darkseid like Happy Gilmore. Boom! He ricochets up and around and down off the tunnel. Darkseid gets up to blast it. Pete and Lex Luthor goes crashing into him in the Black Manta armor and gets him in a headlock. Darkseid stumbling backwards, trying to peel off Lex, firing the staff behind him. Look at how asleep she is. She's out. Like, I'm fucking yelling. She's out. Darkseid is able to fling off Lex, and Lex raises Victor Freeze's ice gun, firing desperately, but Darkseid blasts the gun in his hand and it explodes. Darkseid attempts to get to his feet, looking for Diana, and there's a streak of red, and he's spun around. There he is, already disappearing into the distance. By the time Diana's back on him, for 1 second, Darkseid has the advantage in the freezing mist. He grabs Diana and rips away her sword, but she just grabs him by the throat and begins servo punching him with the fucking mechanical arm until the thing is a gnarled mess. Darkseid, his face smashed, throws Diana to the ground and attempts to step on her head. Pete tries to fly down to protect the love of his life, but Darkseid turns and fires the staff up at the coolant tubes, causing more freezing gas to fill up the fucking tunnel. Darkseid looks up and sees Zatana attempting to use magic, focused, desperate, high above him. He raises the staff to kill her. Lex Luthor leaps on him from behind. He struggles over the staff, trying to pull it away from Darkseid, but once he has the Alien Emperor's full attention, Lex is in deep shit. The staff goes off, and Lex is able to pull it away, but he plummets off the edge of the coolant tunnel and is swept out of sight down hundreds of feet in a cascade of freezing sewage. Darkseid's distracted by Lex, but when he looks up to Zatana, he realizes what it is she's doing. Dozens of little punctures open in reality, and then a seam rips, letting loose hundreds of thousands of gallons of ocean water, pouring forth leaflet, fish, pieces of coral reef, garbage from Earth. Zatana just turned on the tap to the bottom of the Pacific. A tidal wave rolls towards Lord Darkseid, and in it, we can see a dark shape. Arthur explodes out of the ocean water. There is no one more powerful than Aquaman while in the ocean. Arthur plows into Darkseid and begins fucking mauling him. Darkseid can't even get his arms up to block because Aquaman just smashes them out of the way. Arthur grabs Clark and uses him like a shield. Then takes Clark by the leg and uses him like a club. Wham, 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 wham! The environment we're in right now, I should mention, as this fight ends, is fucking insane. The cathedral has collapsed in, so we're in the ruins of an alien cathedral base, which is open to the sewers, which are now flooded with a, fucking Lake Tahoe amount of earth, seawater, and wildlife. Plus you have all the different types of fire burning in every direction. Plus you have the coolant still leaking, so you have that going on. And then you have Hulk-sized Arthur framed against it, soaking wet, panting. He looks fucking psychotic. He looks like when we first met him in Ancient Battle.
Do you yield?
Arthur, still with me here? Do you remember what you told me about the prophecy, Clark? That it wasn't real. Look around you. My father. The people of Amnesty Bay. This is what they thought they were dying for. If they could see me now, they'd think all those lies were true.
Diana climbs up over there, the three siblings reunited. Earth, water, air. It's, you know, they love each other. And Arthur knows that enough to say this.
No. It was a lie. We made it true. We made it true.
Darkseid crawls to their feet.
You are the true heir to Krypton. You are the one that was chosen.
All the techno-organic armor and pieces on Darkseid begin to peel themselves out of him, taking chunks of flesh with them as he loses the abilities of the base mind. All of the nanites scurry around Clark. You can hear bells ringing in the cathedral and light reflecting in all directions as Clark Kent becomes the new base mind of the planet that has haunted him his entire life. The prodigal son has returned. And for the first time, Clark Kent has total control over Krypton. Clark realizes Brainiac 13 is waiting for instructions.
Okay. Brainiac, I want you to fly this thing into the fucking sun.
The massive furnace engines on the far side of the planet explode with energy, and everything rumbles and shakes as Krypton begins slowly to move.
Hey, if this thing's leaving, shouldn't we get back to the ship?
Clark takes out his beetle communicator, the only functional form of communication on either planet.
Lois, can you hear me? We did it. We beat him. We're coming home.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think you've got the wrong number.
No. Clark launches up into the sky, out of the ruins, up higher and higher, staring at Earth above him, and then looks down at their landed spaceship. And it explodes into fiery debris. They're fucking stranded!
At the headquarters of the Daily Planet in Metropolis, the internal intercoms burst into a cacophony of deranged laughter as the glass doors shatter with gunfire, and the insane, homicidal, domestic terrorist known as the Joker, real name Aaron Scott, kicks into the offices and begins firing an Uzi into the crowd. Bodies fall in all directions. James Gordon is shot 3 times. Jamie Ray's legs are cut out from under him by gunfire. Everyone scrambles to cover, and Lois sees her mentor, Clark's mentor, Jimmy's mentor, Perry White, reach before a bullet penetrates his neck and arterial blood sprays all over. Oh my God, everybody's running like sheep being herded, but they're running straight to Arlene Adams, known to the international news media as Harley Quinn. She's got an AK-47. Oh no, oh God, it's a fucking massacre. How could the Joker have known to do this now? How could he have chosen this perfect moment to undercut everything our team was trying to accomplish? He seizes control of the Blue Beetle communication network. Careful, dude, careful. He seizes control of the Blue Beetle communication network and broadcasts his insane message to the world.
We interrupt this broadcast with an important announcement. The Joker's going to kill you. Ladies and gentlemen, the apocalypse proudly presents, in the absence of a Messiah, the man who will suffice for the Antichrist, the one, the only, Mr. J.
There's a secret conspiracy of everyone you hate, and it's all against you. What, are you gonna sit there and take it? I'm going to make an announcement. I'm gonna tell everyone the truth about who built that thing up there. It was the Jews, wasn't it? Maybe it was the Muslims. Bill Gates. It was the same people that killed Michael Jackson. Maybe somebody made a deal with the aliens, the elites, and they sold us out.
This looks like a job for Superman, but he's in space. Just kidding! You're all fucked!
I'm going to tell everyone that what's happening is the fault of whoever they hate the most. And I'm going to step back and see what happens. How's that for a closing act? How stupid is Superman's little speech going to look tomorrow morning when the streets are painted red with blood and fire?
No more rent!
No more taxes!
No more phone bills!
No more groceries!
No more stupid people!
It's going to be mayhem! It's going to be madness! It's going to be... Line.
The apocalypse.
Yeah. The apocalypse!
You never should have built that spotlight if you didn't want me to steal it. You never should have built that microphone if you didn't want me to rip it out of your hands. If somebody's gonna end the world, then I think you'll agree with me. It should be a human being.
Hold on. Don't give up. Don't listen to that voice that tells you to panic. Superman will save the world. Jimmy, shut off the fucking cameras.
Lois Lane stands shaking, breathing hard, covered in the blood of Aaron Scott, her hands trembling on the crowbar she just used to kill him, the same crowbar that he used to kill Jason Todd. Arlene Adams staggers backwards, hands raised. Come on, sugar, come on. Lois raises the Joker's gun and fires twice. Bam, bam! Arlene is thrown backwards by the impacts, hitting a window which shatters, and she finds herself dangling over a 75-story drop from the top of the Daily Planet building as Lois steps up to the edge. Ah! Help me! Come on, sugar. Girls gotta stick together, right? Do you even remember trying to kill me?
No.
Was at the hospital?
I was manipulated.
In Gotham?
I was gaslit and deceived. This isn't me. This was all a mistake.
Goodbye, Harley Quinn. Back up on Krypton, Clark reunites with the rest of the group at the burning wreckage of the spaceship. Zatana floats down, her eyes full of rage.
Where is Luthor? He did this. Where is Luthor?
Of course he did, the coward. We should have seen this coming.
You should have seen. I did see this coming. None of you listened to me.
Zatana, use your magic. Open a door back to Earth.
Earth is moving in space, Diana. I cannot open a door to a location I do not know and I do not see. I could see the ocean from here. If I try to open door now, it may just open simply to space and suck us all out into the cold. No, he's doomed us. He has doomed us. We trusted him again, and he has doomed us. Well, not this time. This time is forever.
Zatana launches into the air on a cloud of purple energy. She has a habit of doing that when she is angry, and Pete looks to Clark, who's in absolute despair. What the fuck are they gonna do? Earth is now actively, slowly getting further away. All of them stand there, staring up, accepting their fate.
What the fuck is wrong with you people? What are these sore faces? What, we're all gonna accept our deaths and die up here? Are you joking? We're the most powerful people on the planet. We just beat the bad guys and saved the world. How can any of you even give a shit what Lex does? Fuck him. Fuck him. I don't need him. None of you need him. We're getting off this rock. We don't save the world just to die in an alien wasteland. How the fuck do we do it? Easy. I'm the smartest man alive. Pete, those things you make, are they airtight? Could you put us in a box that's airtight?
I don't know.
I think so, maybe.
Okay, well, there you fucking go. You put us in something aerodynamic like a diamond. Could you make a diamond? You can make a fucking diamond, right?
I'm trying. It's a piece of alien technology that I got earlier today, yeah?
You put us in a diamond. I get inside the thing, I get my leg out, I get the flash acceleration device, jury rig off the back, I open it up, we're in the box, I kick it off, we launch into space, we go against orbit, we burn off all that speed and go around and around in a bubble like Glinda the Good Witch from Wizard of Oz, and then we return to Earth as a shooting star streaking down through the sky for everyone to see. Diana, babe, did you not tell me we were gods? Then we should travel like fucking gods. You're all so caught up with finishing your stories you don't see. This is just the beginning. This is day one for us. This is day one for Earth. We're not gonna die up here. Nobody fucks with the Justice League.
For the first time ever, the smartest person in the world is in charge of the Justice League. Clark steps back, taking a look at the horizon. While the fire's burning. Hey, guys. You do that. I can go up on my own. I can make that. I can fly it, I think.
Brother, no. You come with us. You cannot fly through space.
Yeah, I can. I think I can. The last time I let Z run off like this, I've regretted it ever since. We're not leaving her here. Clark takes one last look at his friends, and then launches into the air.
Back in the Fortress of Solitude, Dick Grayson is watching over Edward Nygma when he suddenly stops muttering. No more riddles. He goes completely silent. Nygma, what's wrong? Are you still with me? Brainiac 13. It stopped communicating. I think it's going into retreat. No. Something's wrong. It's trying to trigger a self-destruct. Somebody's fighting for control of the fortress. General Hardcastle, limping badly and burned terribly from the grenade, staggers into the room. It's Vandal Savage. He's coming. You have to warn Superman. Vandal Savage grabs the back of Armand Hardcastle's head and rips it in half. It's finally over. The demons defeated. Earth's story completed. All it takes is one last exhale, one last glorious rush of fire to purify this world. He's fighting for control of the base mind. He's trying to use the self-destruct protocols to destroy the Kryptonian bases on Earth. Fuck it, just let him. You don't understand. It's a hard line. If the bases go, they take the planet with them. I can already feel the generators of this place charging the fire down into the Earth's core. Dick Grayson launches into a flying jump kick. He might as well have kicked a brick wall. Vandal swats him aside like he's nothing and walks towards Eddie, grabbing him by the chest and ripping him out of the ice. The places where Eddie's skin was already being touched by frostbite rip away, taking away chunks of flesh. But no sooner has he torn Eddie free than the Brainiac simply grabs Eddie again, and again Vandal rips him free, this time breaking Eddie's arm and Eddie's leg. Every time the baby Brainiac is trying to reclaim its base mind, and every time Vandal simply tears him off, finally flinging him into the wall, where again the base mind absorbs Eddie into the ice. Pretender, you will give me back my role as holy defender of heaven. You know, I think there's kind of a satisfying irony to the fate of the human race coming down to a fist fight between two serial killers. Don't you? Eddie commands the ice to carry him up one of the monolithic walls of the fortress, out of Vandal's reach, and Grayson attacks Vandal again, and again it does nothing. He takes Dick and throws him through one of the ice computers, shattering it into 1,000 pieces. In a small clearing in the ruins on Warworld, Lex Luthor sits happier than we've ever seen him. He's stripped off the Black Manta armor, and he's got a little duffel bag full of equipment and stuff he's stolen. But that's not what's really interesting. What's really interesting is what he's got right next to him. It's a replica of the pod Clark came down in, modified to fit one occupant. This was his escape route. This was the plan all along.
Country roads, take me home to the place I belong.
We've seen Lex happy throughout the epic in all sorts of little victories, little acts of evil and power that pleased him, but we've never seen him like this. The man is floating on a cloud. It's sublime. At last, he's going to be alone, the most powerful man on Earth, all of his enemies forgotten and floating away into the distance. It was always meant to be him. Lex knows that. Not some low IQ moron from the Midwest who happens to be able to fly. Not some bumpkin too stupid to be a god. Him, Lex Luthor, the most powerful man in the universe.
Beautiful! Beautiful! Such a shame to always be alone in my moments of victory. The cost of being a cad, the regrets of a rogue. All your best work is only truly seen by the people who hate you. And soon, they'll all be gone.
And then, here's a voice that he recognizes.
You don't have to celebrate alone, Lex. I've planned you a party.
Wait!
Surprised, Lex.
That's impossible! You're dead! You went insane! You're gone! You can't be here!
This isn't about justice. It's revenge.
The shape of a bat forms in the smoke. Shape of a bat forms in the smoke.
You said I was too stupid to become a god. You said you wanted me to make you immortal. And I said, I don't know how. Well, let's see how much I've grown.
Three magical bullets strike Lex in the chest. Pow, pow, pow! He goes down like a rock, gasping, spitting blood. And then Zatana snaps her fingers, and he's fine.
Like new. I've learned a trick. But you always said, push further.
Lex floats up into the air, his legs kicking and arms waving like a child lifted by an enormous hand, and then he is twisted in half, his body ripping apart, organs spilling out, blood exploding all over Zatana. And then she snaps and he's fine. He tries to stand and she raises a finger, drawing the line up the center of his body, and again he splits in half, his skeleton coming apart, blood spraying everywhere. She snaps, he's back together.
Thank you. I'll be here all night. I'll be here forever. You thought it was all just a big game of winners and losers. And you thought you were a winner. You still think you will win, even now. Until the moment you're dead, you'll never believe it's over. But someone had to end it. And why shouldn't it be me?
Z flicks her fingers and Lex is flipped upside down and pinned to an enormous wooden bullseye conjured from nothing, like an old circus knife-throwing act. Z spins the wheel and Lex goes around and around upside down as she begins spontaneously generating knives and daggers and axes that fling towards him. But she's no sharpshooter. Some of these hit him and pierce him and go through him, and yet he won't die because she won't let him.
Enough!
Oh, don't be stupid.
Z, we need to talk.
How do you even find me?
Got the whole planet screaming in my head. I'm the base mind, remember? Gravity's about to get all fucked up, and Earth's getting smaller and smaller in the sky. We won't be able to get back if we don't leave now.
Then let me kill him, and then we go.
I did let you kill him. I've been here this whole time. I thought, I should do something. I should stop this. But then he was dead. And it was like this giant weight came off my shoulders. Lex Luthor is dead. I'm free. And then you brought him back. And I thought, now I should do, now's the right moment. And you killed him again.
Then why stop me at all? Why do you always have such a need to be good? To do the right thing? Even to protect your enemy. Who is it for, Clark? Who is it for?
It's for you, Z. You think I do what I do from some abstract need to be good? I don't care about him, I care about you. You know, the first time you killed him, it felt like revenge. And the second time you killed him, it felt like a murder. But the third time you killed him, it felt like watching an alcoholic drink. It felt like it couldn't stop. Earth's getting further and further away. You're gonna be here killing this prick forever? I don't think so. I don't want to go back to a planet that doesn't have you on it. If I was in your position, I would have wanted someone to do the exact same thing for me. That's why I do what I do, not to be good, because I care. We won. It's over. We need to get the fuck out of here. Can't do anything. A person too stupid to be a god. I don't like to see harm come to people. You got a cute little good heart. You're a goddamn hero.
I love you, kid.
Where's it all going, Z? How did you end up in someone else's episode?
Z.
I really can't make a door back. Clark, I don't know, I can try, but...
Z, don't be ridiculous. I would never ask you to make a door. You'll take the pod.
What about Luthor?
What about him? Fuck him, we'll leave him here.
Leave me here, you can't be serious.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Just shut up!
You can't just leave me behind to die!
Yeah, I can. And actually, that's exactly what I'm gonna do, so shut up! Z, please, get in the pod. In the distance behind them, they see a green diamond launch, streaking into the sky on a line of fire. Oh, man.
Are you sure you can get back alone?
Oh, yeah, totally.
You don't sound so sure.
Yeah, well, I'm not.
I love you. Thank you for believing in me.
I love you, Cruzy. You make it easy. Okay, you gotta go right now. Zatana screams and screams, but there's nothing she can do. The pod launches into the air, rocketing upwards, away from Clark, up towards Earth. At the Fortress of Solitude, Vandal is digging his fingers into the ice, crawling up to Eddie's limp body to kill him and take control back once and for all. And then Dick Grayson does one of those classic Robin acrobat moves where he runs and basically runs up the gouges Vandal had made in the ice to jump on his back and get him in a headlock. They tumble back down, but Vandal rips him away and easily flings Dick over exactly the same ledge Zod fell over. Grayson's body hangs in the air. No grappling hooks. No one to save him. He tumbles out over a 70-foot drop. Then he sees something that doesn't make any sense at all. Is his life flashing before his eyes? It's Robin. It's him. Like he's looking backward through time. It's Robin, but that can't be right. It's the red and the yellow, but the hair is blonde. And the child is floating in the air. Shazam! Do y'all recognize this motherfucker? That's Billy Batson from the End of Endangered Species. What the fuck? That's one of the child Kryptonian clones. You thought I didn't remember them, but I did. And you know who else is here? Blur of red light. It's fucking Wally West, the other child clone. He fucking picks Dick out of the air and drags him to safety. Both these kids are dressed in Robin costumes. What the fuck? What the fuck? I'm Wally. Look, Billy, it's him. It's the real Robin. The other child Robin floats down to them. Wow. I'm Billy Batson. It's a pleasure to meet you, Mr. Grayson. What the fuck is going on? Vandal Savage starts to slowly get to his feet. Smoke rising off him from the lightning strike. The nanites inside of him malfunctioning and still regrowing the skin on his face for the first time in our entire story. Vandal Savage looks afraid. The devil has sent children to stop me? A voice speaks from somewhere in the shadows. No, Vandal. I'm afraid the devil couldn't make it. Instead, you'll be dealing with me. White smoke bomb! White smoke bomb! Cool new music! From the ceiling drops with an effortless and practiced grace, an all-white shape that pools on the floor before rising into the man we recognize as Bruce motherfucking Wayne. He looks fucking great. Bruce could be on the cover of GQ right now. He looks like he's in a cologne ad. And by the way, the new suit is so badass. It's like a white open collar Superman suit with the Superman symbol on it. It's just like fucking the coolest thing in the world. He looks like Tulum Batman. And no mask, by the way, no mask. Instead, he has like the Furiosa fucking face paint. This is the most dangerous human being on the planet, and he's back, baby. No Batman to hold him back this time. To us, he is Daddy. But to Dick Grayson, he's dead. Step away from my son. I'll kill you! And your stupid children! Billy, Wally, hang back. We won't be needing you. Dick Grayson is at the end of this precipice of ice, so like, it looks like, okay. Okay, so it looks like this. You got this long bridge of ice, right? Headed to that gate to the Phantom Zone that's still open. Eddie's trapped in the ice up here. You got Vandal Savage separating Dick Grayson from Bruce Wayne. Then you got the kids hanging back here. Now, to anyone else in the world, this would be a really bad situation, right? You got a gateway to hell, you're at the end of the world, and you're right there. The issue being that's Batman and Robin, right? So in functional terms, Vandal Savage is surrounded. Surrender, Vandal. There's no point in belaboring this issue. Surrender to two men? These hands have killed thousands. To stop me, you would need an army. With him by my side, we are an army. Dick Grayson rises to his feet. He gets into the classic Robin fighting pose. Bruce Wayne goes into the classic Batman fighting pose. And Vandal kind of does one of these. No, this is perfect. It is how it was meant to be. The Batman, the saint of justice, against me, a representative of the one true god of planet Earth. You're not a god, Vandal. And I'm not Batman. And now it's Batman and Robin versus Vandal Savage. It's Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan fighting Wolverine, two peak humans with top fighting abilities versus a low-level superhuman. Who's gonna do it? Let's go. And you know they're hitting the combos from the Arkham games. They're hitting wrestling moves because I like wrestling. 3D, baby. You've seen all this shit. It's fucking incredible. God, he doesn't stand a chance. About halfway through this fight, Vandal Savage realizes that Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson are smiling.
'Cause they're having fun.
Dick Grayson and Bruce Wayne hit Vandal in the chest with that flying double kick, and this time he is knocked backwards, screaming, grasping, helpless, falling into the Phantom Zone, and Eddie Nigma slams closed the gate. A 500-year crime spree ended in an instant by the one and only Batman and Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson. Don't you ever come around Gotham, bitch! You play that shit in Gotham, you think you're God? Don't you ever come around Gotham, yo!
You know, if you tell yourself a strong enough story, you can basically excuse anything. Vandal told himself he was the Messiah, and he ran with that story, a murderous, homicidal rampage over the course of 500 years, in pursuit of what? An alien fortress he could barely understand. Vandal Savage was a homicidal, rage-filled, alcoholic vagrant for years before a shipwreck led to him becoming a base mind and the envoy of Brainiac. But no matter how dangerous Vandal was, no matter how many people he'd killed, no matter how powerful his delusions had led him to believe he could be, you don't get in a 2-on-1 fist fight with Batman and Robin, dude. Enjoy languishing forever in a dark void, bitch. Bye!
Okay, so let's tick them off here. Doomsday's gone, they threw it in the big furnace, Joker's dead, Lois Lane killed him, Zod got stabbed by Luthor, and now Vandal Savage will float away forever into the Phantom Zone. That's like all of the villains of the Kryptonian Epic. Like, who are we? Oh. Right. Ah! 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 Ah!
Clark Kent, covered in his own blood, staggers through the tunnels on Krypton, coming out to a parapet where he sees Darkseid standing alone, beaten and defeated.
You. I'm not your enemy. I never was. Help me. We can get out of here.
The energy from the kryptonite bullet embedded in him is fucking with the nanites from Brainiac, and they're slowly abandoning him. He can no longer control Warworld. The Brainiac nanites perform a disgusting exodus, coming out of Clark's nose and ears and tear ducts, pouring out, sparking and fritzing as they go back to their rightful place, their holy place, with Darkseid. And then rather than go back to him, the Brainiac nanites simply dissolve.
Darkseid turns and leaps off the ledge.
Clark watches as Darkseid's body tumbles down, 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 down into the same furnaces they used to melt the super hybrids, incinerating him completely.
He killed himself? Why did he?
Clark manages to scurry into the shadows and disappears in this giant chamber. I'd stay down if I were you!
Yeah, you would, wouldn't you?
There's a rumble and a groan like an ancient monster waking up that rattles through the entire planet, shaking dust off everything. The engines are really kicking up now. This thing is going on a beeline to the sun, and it's starting to speed up. I haven't lost yet, Kent! Not yet!
Look around, Lex! This is you losing.
No. Ah! Clark escapes down a gantry-way into a larger structure. He'll never know it, but this is the same lab his father owned, the same place his pod was launched from, the same place Zod killed Jor-El.
stupid!
You're right, Lex. This whole thing has been stupid. Another failure for poor little Alexander. Does it bother you that Ted Kord built the city of the future before you ever could with none of the advantages?
No, Kord was a fluke. If I'd had Garrett's technology, I would.
What? Would Lex Luthor have become the Blue Beetle? I don't think so. Probably shouldn't waste those. I assume they were expensive.
Oh, this is asinine. So this is what you've been reduced to, Superman? Hiding in the shadows and attempting to bruise my ego?
It would just bother me, that's all. If I were you, someone like Oliver Queen, building a better Justice League than I ever could, ooh, it would drive me nuts.
Oliver Queen was a fool, and I'm glad he's dead.
This entire situation is your fault. We're stranded on an alien planet. Everything that's happening is your fault, and now...
You sound terrified.
Are you sure about that?
Face it, Kent. Without your powers, you're nothing, just another one in the crowd. You're afraid to fight me as a human being.
Lex, I've always fought you as a human being.
Oh, so clever. Always so clever.
You would. Have you not been paying attention? Is this what you wanted? Is this what you wanted?
Would you hate me if I said yes?
Then keep it. Keep it.
He gets the axe, charges out. Clark stands on a balcony looking up at Earth, and just as Luthor lunges towards him, Clark floats up into the air, his powers slowly returning. They're separated now. Luthor standing on the balcony, and Clark floating up slowly, just out of his reach, further and further away.
All right! Enough! Come back. You know, Lex, I don't think I will.
Lois is probably dead. You know that, right?
You just can't help yourself, can you?
I had a talk with our mutual friend Aaron Scott about changing the messages.
Oh, did you talk to Aaron Scott?
It's just you and me up here. Can you see that?
Oh, Lex. All that planning. All those years. And then it ends like this?
It's me who gets to decide your fate because you tried to kill me? I mean...
So stupid. Why? Because you were mean instead of nice? What's the lesson, man?
You never beat me, Kent! You never beat me!
Lex, I never had to.
Coward!
Goodbye, Lex.
Clark hangs there, just out of Luthor's reach, slowly going higher and higher. Lex's voice is shrinking, becoming small.
You're evil! A monster! A monster! An alien! You're the bad guy! I'm the hero! And you're small! You're tiny! You're small! Small! Small!
Higher and higher, and Lex's voice fades to a whisper, and then a squeak, and then it's gone, and light looms out over the horizon. The groan and scream of the Krypt planet's engines blot out everything as debris flood past Clark as he enters low orbit. Now he's rapidly gaining speed, trying to launch himself between the two planets, trying to go faster and faster, but the wound on the shoulder is maybe too much. It's bleeding out, and in the zero gravity, the blood floats behind him, forming a red trail, almost like a cape. A man twisting and turning physically between two worlds, stranded between two horizons, where he's been his whole life. He floats bonelessly, unable to breathe, sick from loss of blood, radiation poisoning, very probably in shock. He looks down at the entire Earth for the first time in his life. The planet he grew up on, his planet, home. And above him, the dead, scarred thing that was his origin. And Clark finally just lets it go. He falls and turns and twists, and then as he enters the ionosphere, he regains control, pulls down, tucks in, and Superman pose, flying out over the continents, over the ocean, banking and twisting through the stratosphere, down, down, down. Clark swoops down through one of the massive holes in the roof of the Fortress of Solitude accidentally created during his fight with Zod. And he sees Bruce, and Dick Grayson, and Billy and Wally, but the moment he enters, the Brainiac's base mind immediately reverts to him, and Eddie drops limp out of the wall, his bones broken, blood leaking from his nose and mouth. Clark takes Eddie up in his arms. Oh, Clark, you came back. You should have seen it. It was amazing. Do you think people will be mad if you tell them it was me? Thus ends the story of the Riddler in the Kryptonian Epic.
You know, I don't like to quantify intelligence this way, but from a purely neurological standpoint, Edward Nygma might have been the most brilliant human ever to live. His brain was remarkable. He just thought faster than other people, drew connections other people weren't able to draw. It was his idea to start the society, his idea to stand against Luthor, his ideas that saved the world during Toyman, and it was him that gave everything to slow down Brainiac 13 for 9 hours, the 9 hours that would allow the friends he had made to save every human life. Does that balance the people he killed as the Riddler? I don't know. But there are only about 3 really evil characters in the Kryptonian Epic. And the truth is, Eddie wasn't one of them. Rest in peace, Riddler.
Clark stands up, looks to Bruce Wayne, and for a moment, the two men embrace. He looks to Dick Grayson, gives him a thumbs up, looks to the kids in the Robin costumes. Clark looks a little confused, but in a good way. And then he launches up through the roof, out, 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 faster and faster, further and further away from the alien fortress that once represented his lost homeworld. He flies over the ocean, moving faster than the speed of sound, tears streaming down his face, turning into mist from the sheer velocity until he sees the desolate ruins of Metropolis, now alight with people looking skyward, one of them Lois Lane, standing on the roof of the Daily Planet, still stained with the Joker's blood. She watches a small blue and red shape bank around, and then land down next to her. In the sky, Krypton is already pulling away. But there is nothing in the world they see but each other, both of them beaten to shit, stained with blood, having assumed they would be dead less than 2 hours ago. They embrace, and she says yes to the question from earlier. giant victory moment here, but where is Zatana? In a deep forest outside Mongolia, Z breaks her way out of Luthor's Kryptonian escape pod and looks up into the sky. At Warworld, growing further and further away, she screams in frustration and attempts to open a portal to the planet. She can't do it. She tries to open it again. Nothing. She shakes her head and takes off, soaring over continents and oceans until she's back over Metropolis, where she hears the sound of music and celebration, even in these destroyed streets. People are partying, they're popping champagne, and there on the roof of the Daily Planet are Clark Kent and Lois Lane. She floats down to the wide-eyed. Where is Luthor? Clark just points up at the planet, growing further and further away. And for the first time from Zatana, we see a real smile. But then, 8 months later, and they're getting married! Yeah! Everybody from Smallville is there. All the old characters we forgot about, like Kenny. Everybody remember Kenny? Come on, Kenny. Fuck yeah. And hey, JB Reyes is alive. And Perry White survived getting shot in the neck. You didn't expect that, right? Pete does like big fireworks with the Green Lantern ring. And Lois is pregnant. Pregnant in a wedding dress. Very progressive for Kansas. Everyone's getting drunk and having fun. And people are in the kitchen doing blow. And people are smoking joints. And it's all the superheroes having fun. I give it 4 years. Pregnant in the wedding dress. Classy, right? Kansas. They're sweet, though. He's a sweet guy. And Arthur apparently has a human girlfriend? How's that gonna work? I don't know. He's so big, but you know what? Through love, anything is possible. Diana looks great. Zatana is there, and she's talking to Connor Queen. Remember Connor, Ollie's son? Ollie died, remember, so Connor's alone. But Zatana's taking care of him. It's so beautiful. The night goes on, friends and fun and love and laughter. It's perfect. It's like the Ewoks at the end of Return of the Jedi. Isn't it like the Ewoks? It's just like the Ewoks! As it gets closer to 3 a.m., the party is dying down. Almost everyone's gone home. The laughter is getting quieter and more distant. People are asleep in guest rooms and on couches and a few in the yard. Clark finds himself back out where American Alien actually started, the edge of Kent Farms, with the person American Alien started with, Clark's mother, Martha. Ben, do me a favor. Come and shoot this from here. Thanks. Back up the track. Perfect. Hello, Bevan, you ready? Yeah. Okay, let's get it. Clark and his mother look up at the sky. Krypton, now a fading purple dot. I wish I could have met him.
Who?
Him, like the alien that sent me. Like my father.
You know, we always wondered about that, me and John. You know what we called him when you were little?
What?
Ralph. When we first walked up to the pod, I remember it was glowing hot, and it was so bright it hurt to look at, and that light swept out and over us, and then we heard that horrible sound, like a baby screaming. We saw that little egg hatch, and there you were, looking just like John did when he was a baby, but with my eyes. And then as the years went by, the question we would always talk about when we were a little high or a little buzzed was, well, if we hatched the egg, who laid the egg? You were always our son, but when you'd get out of line and you'd start misbehaving, we'd talk about Ralph. Say, that's your Ralph coming out. He laid the egg. Eventually, when we'd get into fights with each other, we'd blame Ralph. That's part of the thrill of being your mother, Clark. Every day kind of just became a different little mystery. The truth is, I wish we could have met Ralph too, so I could show him how great his son turned out to be.
Yeah!
Yay, we did it! That's the Kryptonian Epic! Fuck yeah! Yes! Yes! Fuck anyone who ever doubted me! Yes! Ladies and gentlemen, Trinity Simpson! Ladies and gentlemen, the editor of the Kryptonian Epic, responsible for most of your favorite parts of it, as well as shooting most of it, Ben Escobar! Gantry's here! Yeah! It's Riley! It's fucking Jimmy Olsen from fucking Endangered Species! Let's go! Evian Carmus! Carmus helps shoot endangered species! And Ken was an endangered species!
What happened to the Mad Hatter?
Don't worry about that! Yeah!
And that's the Kryptonian Epic. The dance of two planets, two worlds, Krypton and Earth, their legacies intertwining through hundreds of individual lives, individual destinies, leading to the eventual ascension of humanity into a utopia. It's a very hopeful story, all centered around a very hopeful hero for an epic. Clark Kent. He not only beat all the bad guys and got the girl, but he also overcame the fears and insecurities that had haunted him his whole life. And we watched him make his way and earn his way to becoming a guy worth being called Superman. Even though by the end he's not even called that anymore. Not bad. If I was Jon Snow, I'd be fucking furious.
Kryptonian Epic, fuck y'all, I get it. 3 hours of fan fiction for y'all to finish. My adventure with Superman, it ain't hard to get it. It's an American era, your Britball pathetic. Shout to Clark Kent, he inspired me. Batman is really a bad guy, you see. I'm like Arthur Curry, I'll fucking kill you. Say the streets like Blue Beetle, I still do. Did it on my own, DC wasn't there. No Warner Brothers, I don't need them in here. I guess I'm insane, victory, I declared 25 characters and just me in a chair. Stranded on the planet like Luthor was there. Can't erase me, this tributes everywhere. Spent too much money for too few views, but I made it to the end, so still you lose. Gotta do it yourself for all mankind. Fan fiction online, I done lost my mind. She magic like D, so hot, so fine. 3 hours of my life just crossed that line. That's why I even had to make this song. I love you more than Barry Allen hates his mom. Yeah, Ben P's loud, but he's keeping me company. Green Arrow shit and adrenaline junkie. Get up, just like that. Roadblocks, but I jump right back. And I did what I set out to do. Stay true, went all the way through. And I'm so grateful. Never gave up, I was broken hearted. But still had to finish up what I started. Get my head down and my passion up. I wouldn't let them take me down no matter what. And we here.
Why'd it come out brown?
What the hell?
Incredible. The genius Sarah Fuller. The most famous person on earth. Zatana.
I turned myself into a bat monster to prevent Lex Luthor from stealing clones.
Look at the little screen.
This is filmmaking.
Okay, get out of here, Ben. Move the light a little around, Chris. And we'll add a helicopter sound effect.
Okay, thank you. Goodbye, everybody.
Forget about me!
You think it's gonna be weird that I have giant bandage on my arm, I'm all covered in cat scratches, I'm clean shaven, it's a completely different guy?
No, I think that's it works.
Okay, good, because fuck it, right?
If one thing's gonna be all different, it might as well be everything.
Okay, that's exactly true. Okay.